This episode of Ouzo Talk is brought to you by Kingsford Smith Transport. Have a group that needs transporting? KST has you covered with their fleet of professionally maintained buses and coaches, catering from 9 to 57 passengers and driven by experienced drivers. Visit kstbuses.com.au to talk to the team and make your booking. Kingsford Smith Transport, proud sponsors of the Ouzo Talk podcast. There's no Ouzo Talk without a bottle of Ouzo, which is why we love the Greek Providor. Get a real taste of the very best produce that Greece has to offer. From olive oils and delicious artisan sweets, to unique spirits, earthy herbs and memorable wines. Visit thegreekprovidor.com.au to see their amazing range. The Greek Providor, proud sponsors of the Ouzo Talk podcast.
Sound is.
And we're back for Season 3 of the Ouzo Talk podcast. Nick Athanasiou, third time's a charm, mate. Welcome back.
Mate, how good is it to be back, Tom? Hey, did you miss it?
It is sensational, and yes, I have missed it. Let's be honest. So much has been going on around this podcast, and there's so much to tell. There's, where do you even start, right?
Definitely, mate. Look, I really missed it. And look, it's by the sound of things, we're going to have a massive year this year.
We say that every year, but
this is going to be bigger.
It's genuinely true this time.
We had bigger, now it's going to be the biggest.
Absolutely. And look, before we get into it, we need to thank our sponsors. MGM Martin have come on board for this episode of the podcast. Fantastic to have them on board. Thank you to Michael Zylis and his team there. mgmmartin.com. Whether you're looking to buy, sell, or get your property managed, MGM Martin and Michael and his team will be able to help you. So again, mgmmartin.com. Guys, thank you so much for being on board. Really glad you've been able to join us. And back on board as well is BEH Legal. Theodore Giannopoulos, who was obviously on the Parthenon Marbles episode a while back, but also had a little bit of a sneak preview on the Kate Forsyth episode. BEH Legal, for all your legal needs, conveyancing, make sure you look them up online. I think the two go hand in hand very nicely. But look, thank you to you guys, and obviously we have another sponsor which we're going to mention shortly. But let me tell you who we've got for today's episode anyway. So our guest is an actor, writer, producer, director, and comedian who in many ways laid the platform for ethnic humour, not just in Australia, but arguably internationally too. In 1987 to 90, he toured Australia with the iconic ethnic comedy stage show Wogs Out of Work, which he also co-wrote and produced. A huge success, it played to nearly 1 million people. That became the springboard for the TV comedy Acropolis now, which he co-wrote and starred in as well. In 1999, he co-wrote, produced and starred in the now iconic feature film The Wog Boy, which would yield 2 sequels. He's won numerous awards, including 2 Mo Awards for Best Comedy Performer of the Year in 98-99. The Comedy Star of the Year Award at the Australian Movie Exhibitions Convention in 2001, the IF Award for Most Successful Box Office Australian Film of the Year for 2000. He's won a whole bunch of stuff, mate.
Sounds like it.
But look, after 2 years of chasing, he's finally here with us in the room. Welcome
Finally,
the Wog Boy himself,
Yay.
Nick Giannopoulos.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Σας ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ.
Να σε καλά.
And that was a wonderful introduction.
You like that?
Yeah, kind of.
Did we get it all
Did
right?
he leave anything
No, it was
out?
good. It was great. Thank you. I'm glad I sent you my bio yesterday.
Anything
I'm glad
out?
I included all my awards in there too. That's some very impressive awards that people will be listening to that going, the what? He won what?
What's that?
Mate, it hasn't got an Oscar or Emmy or something like that behind it. Doesn't really matter.
No, of course not.
No, it's been good. It's been great, guys. I've been great. I've been very fortunate and very lucky to do something I love and to still be doing it. That's about the best way to put it.
Mate, brilliant.
And yeah. All right. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Is that it? Oh, that was
And on
the
that
easiest
note-
interview I've ever done. That's easy.
Well, look, we neglected to mention that this is actually our 51st episode.
So it's an anniversary.
Well, kind of. So it's our first episode back for the new year.
Fantastic. Welcome back.
Our first episode for season 3 and our
Great.
51st episode. So this is a special one.
Well, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here and be part of Ouzo Talks. And I can see that you guys take your title literally because you were pouring something out of that bottle. Is that Ouzo? What are you actually drinking?
Well,
Close.
it's a little bit misleading because that's not Ouzo, but
What is it?
we're jumping the gun a little bit. But
Here we
it's-
are.
You tell us, Nick. What is it?
It's called Kleos, but it's a Masticha.
Oh, I love Masticha. Not drinking at the moment, but love Masticha.
No, but
He's in training.
It's from the island of Chios. That can
right.
help your
Throw it out.
microphone. And do you know what? And do you know where it comes from, Masticha?
Off
Let's
a
see how
tree.
good. Yes, and what is the tree called?
The sap of a tree.
And the tree is called the mastic tree.
That's right.
Which is why it's called Masticha.
Wow. But that,
Yes, I love telling all my English friends that when I go to Greece. I say, that what you're drinking is from a tree. They go, from a tree? I said, yes, it's from the mastic tree.
we're drinking the tree. So
And in the old days, it was medicinal, used for medicinal purposes.
Yes,
and,
true.
It still is. It's in the yamas.
Yes, Siniyamas indeed.
it is.
Cheers.
But didn't we call, what did you call chewing gum as a kid?
Tsunga.
Tsunga. Didn't they call it
I also had a mate
mastica?
called Jimmy Tsungas.
All right.
My mate Jimmy Tsungas and Tsunga.
Really?
What did you call it?
We used to call it masticha. Or Mum used to call it masticha.
No, that's true. In Greece, it was Masticha. When I first went to Greece in the 70s, they referred to it as Masticha.
Okay.
So it became very confusing when they offered you the drink or the chewy.
Yeah.
So you didn't want to make that mistake when you were 8 years old.
Yeah.
There's Masticha. Yeah. Next
Which
minute I
one
know,
would you
I'm an
prefer?
8-year-old drunk. But no, you're right. It had two meanings. Masticha had two meanings. That's correct.
Because he used to chew on it, didn't he?
I'm a bit older than you guys, so, just use me for your tree of knowledge.
Yeah, we were, mate.
Yes, please, go ahead.
Impressed us so far. So, but they used to chew on it, didn't they? Used to in the ancient
and that was from the
times.
mastic tree as well.
Yeah.
That
Rip
was
off.
Masticha as gum.
Yeah.
And then some genius had the wonderful idea of liquidating it and selling it to American tourists for a shitload of money.
There you go.
Probably cost them 5 cents to make that stuff. Anyway. The margin on Masticha is probably 5,000%.
Probably.
Do you have an editing button on this podcast? Because I reckon you're going to edit that whole first 10 minutes.
No.
I think
Really?
that's a wonderful advertisement for Hios.
Mate, there's people who have no interest in Masticha turning off all over the world. Going, I thought this was about Greek stuff. Like
We'll
interesting
see.
stuff.
Oh, dear. Well,
Do we need to have a drink?
I think so. Let's kick off the season properly and do the intro. What do you think?
Let's kick it off, mate. Welcome back.
Στην υγεία μας.
Στην υγεία μας, παιδιά.
Cheers, boy, this.
Okay.
Καλή χρονιά, καλή πρωτοχρονιά to everyone listening.
Pieces, mate.
Happy New Year, or as we say in Australia, have a good one, mate.
That's it. That's it. Well, I'll drink for you, Nick. So bottoms
You're
up.
going to have a double. Well, that's, mate, if you're drinking for me, you're going to have about 10 of those.
Jesus, Tom.
Good stuff?
It is good stuff.
It is the sponsor, so we've got to say it's good.
Well, just on the sponsor. So we do have a sponsor for this year for our drinks.
Fantastic.
Nick, tell us who it is.
Yeah, so it's called the Greek Providor. So they've been around all season,
Fantastic.
but they're actually going to be here for the whole year now, Tom.
Well, thank you, Greek Providor, for your support.
Fantastic.
And may I add, drink responsibly.
Thank you for saying that.
Exactly. Well done.
I just got you out of trouble with the with all the government authorities.
Can I
Gamble
And as my
responsibly.
We've
father
said
used to
that?
say,
No,
We've never said that.
not like that. Anyway.
Not one episode we ever said drink responsibly, have
well,
we?
I've just cut the bit where I said it and added it to all your podcasts. Because it's a government regulation.
Yeah, it sounds better when you say that.
Government regulation?
Thank you very much for that
So
public
thank
service
you.
announcement. Thank you. Well, Nick, again, fantastic to have you with us.
Great to be here.
Let's kick it off. Let's go basic. Tell us a little bit about your Greek background. We know you're Greek. Everyone knows you're Greek.
Sure.
But tell us about where your family came from.
You know, it's the first question I get asked every time I go to Greece.
Okay.
Ο πατέρας μου είναι από την Καλαμάτα,
Okay.
κοντά στην Καλαμάτα, from a town called, do I have to speak English or Greek?
You can mix.
Whatever you like.
Oh, okay. It's not SBS. There's no
No,
subtitles.
no.
So how
It's
does
in
this work?
English.
We
but
can, we can
throw in
arrange
a few
that.
Greek words.
It's mostly
fine.
Greek listeners, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, you'd be surprised.
Unless there's a lot of Ouzo lovers out there who've mistakenly tuned in.
You know what?
We thought
there
there were.
are.
There's a lot of non-Greek that listen to this.
Well, they're Ouzo lovers. They're
Yeah.
the three Ouzo lovers around the world.
Greek culture.
A lot
I've
in
met
the
the three
UK.
people who like Ouzo.
Have
They've
you?
all- yes, I've met all three of them.
Two of them in this room? No.
It's you,
Hang on.
him, and this guy.
Hang on a sec. So I'm sensing a story now. Before we get to your...
No. So back to what I say. So my dad's from, from he's Peloponnese. This is my mum. He's from Kodas to Kalamata, close to Kalamata, Gargalyani.
Is that where the olives are better
Okay.
than bread
Yes,
and butter?
that's correct. And we use that obviously in Acropolis now. It's
I was
also
going to
where
say...
Agamemnon Hatzidimitropoulos was from, and I'm sure you've had George on the show.
Yes.
Well, my dad, every time he watched Acropolis Now and he heard Gargalyani, he was a very proud man. And the wonderful thing about Mimo when he said it in Acropolis Now was he would say, I am from Gargalyani. And then and I forget the episode, but the guy goes to him, and how do you spell that? He goes, It's one of my favourite moments because that was written directly for my dad. And I think I wrote that episode. Obviously. My mother is from close by, is from Arcadia, the province of Arcadia, from a little town called Pulithra, which is close to another town called Leonidion.
Okay.
So I've taken the bus from Gargagliani to Pulithra, and it's about 5.5 hours of the worst bus ride you've ever had in your life. Complete with goats, chickens, and everything else that you could put on a bus.
Yeah.
Wow.
It is one of those bus trips. But yes, it's not. They're not going to put in any Greek tourist manual. In fact, I never see the Greek buses that do the Peloponnese in any of the Greek tourist manuals. That's because they probably don't want to put them in there.
Well, you were on one recently.
You know what I'm
weren't
talking about. Have you been in a Greek bus?
He was on one recently.
Yeah, I have.
They're from the 1940s, 50s, yeah? They
Not
haven't
that
changed.
old. No, these are modern buses.
Hang on.
We had
whoa,
aircon.
Whoa, hang on.
Mate,
Hang
there's
on,
aircon
update.
now.
They've got air conditioning?
Mate, they got aircon.
Mate, I might go back on the buses. Because I tell you, the trains are probably 2 decades behind the buses.
Yeah,
Have you been on the Greek
conservative.
train?
No.
I took the train once from Athens to Kalamata, and it was very interesting. It's like
Really?
watching one of those Agatha Christie movies set in the 1920s. You
Yeah.
know? I felt like a character. You know what I'm saying?
Mate,
yeah.
the buses,
Also on the
roads,
Greek Orient Express.
Yeah, they're another level, honestly. And I'd find them better than here too sometimes.
What's
the buses they had in Greece were
Yeah.
fucking phenomenal. Gumenitsa to Athens we went. The roads they had, look, it's just gone to a new level.
Oh, the roads are a lot better. You know what I find interesting? I drove from recently from Athens to Kalamata, and they've built this beautiful tollway. You know, no one's on it.
You
And
wonder
I asked
why?
my uncle. I said,
It's like the
"Γιατί
15...
τώρα, δρόμος γιατί ήταν άδειος? Why was the road empty?" He goes, nobody paid the toll. So what do you mean? He goes, they don't want to pay the toll.
So
They
they
still
go-
take the old
They
road.
go to the goat track.
So I'm on this tollway, and trust me, it ain't cheap. I
Yeah.
get it. But I'm on this tollway, and I'm looking at the old side road, and that's packed.
Yeah,
That road is chock-a-blocker.
classic.
And I'm like, isn't it interesting? They complained for years about the infrastructure and the roads in Greece. They build them this amazing,
Yeah.
8-lane freeway,
Yeah.
and no one's on it.
Yeah, probably for the
But you
tourists.
didn't tell us we were going to pay money.
Yeah,
Toll?
yeah.
Who told you I want the toll?
I tell you what, though,
Am I wrong? Am I right?
Yeah.
Have you
Well,
been on the toll?
I
There's
have.
no one on it, mate. 3 things I learned about Greece, and this hasn't changed for the last 30 years I've been going there. 3 things. They don't pay tolls. Nobody gets that. You know that toll thing you're meant to have, and nobody gets it.
The E
Toll?
train.
I don't have toll. I don't have this.
They get the bill
Secondly,
in the mail.
when they see a "do not smoke" sign, they don't pay
smoke.
attention. In fact, that encourages them to smoke.
Yeah.
When they see that cigarette in the circle crossed out,
Yeah.
it makes them want to have a cigarette.
Yeah,
You know, when a Greek sees, any of those anti-cancer warnings,
Yeah.
all it makes them want to do is have more cigarettes.
yeah.
You know, none of that works. So
So you can't tell a Greek what to do. They do the opposite.
when they tried to ban smoking, I think
Yeah.
10 years ago, I was there that year in Greece. And
I remember.
I've never seen more people smoking in a restaurant in my life. In fact, I think it encouraged people to smoke more in
Really?
restaurants.
Nah, but
I said, you understand it's the opposite. You're not meant to smoke in here. He goes, yeah!
Don't tell me what to do.
the funniest was the way they tried to get around it. There was some bloke, he had a cafe neo, and everyone was sitting at like this bench at the window, and they drilled holes through the glass so they could sit there and put the cigarette through the hole, smoke, and chuck the cigarette out.
You know, thousands of years ago, Greeks were famous for inventing some amazing democracy, the political system,
Yep.
theatre. Now we're famous for putting holes in walls and sticking our cigarettes through them. Do you understand what I'm saying?
If
I
there's
mean,
a-
I see this stuff all the time in Greece. People just trying to get around things. Like,
Yeah.
you understand they're doing it for your own good. Nobody tell me nothing. I know everything.
Yeah.
To some degree, it's genius.
See, I see
Εδώ
this.
είμαστε δημοκρατία, κάνω τι θέλω.
Greeks are innovators. Only a Greek would come up with something like that.
Yeah.
If you're telling me, mate, I'll think of a way where I can get around it, and it's illegal.
What was the
They're
thing Bill
innovators.
Gates said? He said, I'm not interested in seeing a genius do something. I'm interested to see how a lazy person does it, because they're going to figure out a
Most
better way
efficient
to do it.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say, I'm interested to see how a Greek does it.
Well, by extension.
By extension, because we always have a unique way about going about everything, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
But that
you know
is a
what,
myth,
but
though.
look, having said all of that,
Yeah.
can I just preface it by saying this?
Yeah.
I love Greece.
Yeah.
I love it. You know what? I love the country. I go every year.
Yeah.
I'd love to spend as much time there as I can. The best thing that ever happened to me in my life is when my dad took me at 12 years old to Greece for the first time. you know. And I went from being this kid at school who'd be called a Wog all the time and who people couldn't pronounce my name and, you know, I felt embarrassed about my long Greek surname. I felt embarrassed when I went out shopping with my mum and she'd speak Greek. And then all of a sudden, I'm in Greece and I go to Athens and I see my name on a billboard, Giannopoulos. It's the biggest pastelli company in Greece.
There you go.
Sesame bars.
You related to him?
I wish.
Yeah.
So this guy who made these sesame bars, there's my name. And I'd never seen Giannopoulos, my name, Giannopoulos, up there on a billboard. And I just went, cool name.
Yeah.
So I never made fun of my name again, and I never let anyone else make fun of my name again. The other thing I realised is there are a lot of other people look like me because I wasn't used to that here. So I was going, oh, look, that guy looks like me. Oh, there's a lot of us. I thought it was just me and my mates at Richmond High.
Yeah.
And we're all just connected by one eyebrow, you know what I mean? And we had to get together at lunchtimes and smash smash the Aussies up, the skips. But no, lo and behold, I'm looking around and there's a whole bunch of us.
Yeah.
There's millions of us Wogs. Hey, Skips, it's not just me and the 5 guys.
It's a whole
There's
country.
12 million of us. So next time you hang shit on me, mate, 12 million of us are going to get an Olympic Airways flight. Come down here and smash it in.
Classic.
And I just went, yeah.
Yeah.
And my dad takes me to see the Acropolis. Seriously, I'm a young kid. I
So
still
the
got the
first time you
photos.
went to Greece,
First
12
time I
years
went to
old.
Greece, 1976.
Wow.
I was born in 63. So I was 12, about to turn 13.
Olympic Airlines?
That's another story. So I get there and, we're there and my dad, he's showing me all the sites,
Yeah.
And 76, we'd just come out of the dictatorship. It was still kind of weird
junta.
vibes in Athens. Yeah, still post-junta, but still people still wearing those junta kind of one-piece. It was weird. But it was the old Athens, So he took me around the Omonia and I went to the old Greek tavernas and... the peristeria was still there in the squares. People hadn't eaten them yet. They were still hanging around. People. He takes me up the Acropolis, and mate, he's telling, and I'm sitting there going, you know what? Us Greeks have done all right, mate. Next time some skip hangs shit on me, I'm going to show them these photos. Of how we created all this stuff, how we were, at once upon a time. The greatest civilization. I didn't know all that stuff.
Yeah.
All I knew was, hey, Wog, get back to where you came from, which took me years to figure out because I'd been born here.
Yeah. We're in sort of no man's land.
Mate, I kept trying to figure out where I was from.
Yeah.
I said, mate, you sure I was born here?
Yeah.
Και ναι, εδώ είσαι γεννημένος. Γιατί οι Αυστραλοί μου λένε να γεννήσω και από εκεί που ήρθα. Because όχι, εδώ είσαι γεννημένος. Okay, show me my birth certificate.
Yeah.
So one day I brought to school, like, hey, dickhead. Hey, Craig, come here.
Yeah.
You go back to your own country. Here, dickhead. Here, Melbourne. Born in Melbourne. This is my country, dickhead. Yeah, it's bullshit.
Classic.
You made that up.
Where's Craig now?
In the grave.
Oh, really?
Put him there. No, I'm joking. No. I don't know. He's
Poor Craig.
choking on Vegemite. I'm not sure where Craig
I'm sure he's changed his tune now.
Look, on behalf of the people I mentioned, I'm changing the names. There was no Craig.
Okay.
Actually, his name was Shane. So,
And he lives at 112
mate,
Smith Street.
It's a good thing I don't know where he lives.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a really good thing I don't. But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that first trip, man, for me,
Yeah.
I've got pictures of me in Greece visiting the Chorio in my footy jumper. I was wearing my AFL footy jumper.
Which team?
Essendon.
You are Bombers.
Yeah, I was meant to be Richmond, but my mum bought me the wrong jumper.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I said, Ma, yellow and black. She goes, ναι, κατάλαβα, all right, yellow and black. I go, just go to Target, get the yellow. She goes, I got yellow and black, right? All right.
Yeah.
All right. Comes back.
The red
I
close.
go, Ma, what are you doing? What are you doing? This is red and black. I said yellow and black. She goes, listen, άκου μένα.
It was on sale.
Το yellow and black, $2.99, αυτό $1.99.
Yeah.
This one, $1 cheaper. You take this one.
Yeah.
So for the sake of $1,
Yeah.
I became an Essendon supporter who lived in the heart of Richmond.
How did that go down?
Not very well. I went to my local primary school wearing the Essendon jumper.
Yeah.
I got spat on. I got bashed. I heard things I've never heard in my life before or since.
Yeah.
And I thought, I like this.
Yeah.
I like being the outsider.
Yeah.
I like the colour red. And screw them, I'm going to stay an Essendon supporter, even though I didn't know where the fuck Essendon was. Right? I didn't have I was too young to own a Melways or what we call them back way, Sidways and Sid. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So,
Street
mate,
directory.
I was anyway. So that's a true story. All right.
Wow.
But there I am with my Essendon jumper, and it was really hard explaining to my grandmother what that. She goes, "Παιδάκι με τι είναι αυτό? Τι φοράς?" In English, what are you wearing? You know.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, grandmother, that's Essendon. You know Essendon? She goes, όχι παιδάκι μου, δεν ξέρω εγώ τίποτα Essendon. Τι είναι αυτό το Essendon? Τι μου λέει το παιδί Essendon? I go, Essendon! It's the best team in the world, yeah. She goes, τι θέλεις? Εντάξει. She goes, τι θέλεις να φας? I go, have you got any sausage rolls?
Τι είναι αυτό?
And my grandmother looks at me, she goes, τι λέει το παιδί? She looked at mama, she goes, what's he say? What did he say in Greek, you know? I said, all right. How about Jiffy Donuts? Do you have any Jiffy Donuts?
Did your grandma blame your mum? Εσύ φταίς τώρα.
I was like two different planets.
Yeah.
So your grandma,
No man's land.
Is this
I've
your...
got a photo of me on the donkey with the Essendon jumper.
Yeah.
That's
And
classic.
my papa, you know, searching the Horio for meat pies and sausage rolls.
That is priceless.
Mate, I was an Aussie.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't. You know what I mean? My Greek was pretty bad. They had no idea. I mean, my grandmother never met me before.
Yeah.
My mother left when she was 19. My mother had not seen her for over 20 years.
Wow.
You know, this was in 79 when we went in 79, not 76. 76, I was just with my dad. So in 79, when we all back as a family, I think one of the most emotional things I've ever witnessed was my mother going back to her horio. Now, my mother's actual horio is above Polythro. It's called a migdalia. A migdalia used to be about 30 people. Now it's about 1.
Really?
Right? It's one of these horia it's a village right on the top of this mountain. It takes you, it's a 3-hour donkey ride to get there. I'm not joking. This is where my mother came from. I had no idea. So in 79, I'm now 16, going on 17. We go to the village and we arrive. The moment when my mother sees her mother for the first time in, let's see, she left in 60. What's that make it? 19 years? 20 years? Wow. Yeah.
The emotion.
Yeah. It's one of those moments, you know? And I didn't appreciate it anywhere near as much then as I did now. I was just looking for meat pie then, you know? I was like, Jiffy Donuts, you know?
Είχες κολλήσει.
But now when I think about it, you know, when I think about big moments in my life, that was a biggie. Didn't know at the time, just trying to get the radio to play the Essendon game. But that was a big moment.
Yeah.
And you know what, man? That's the stuff I remember now that I like to talk about now because it puts into perspective the sacrifices that our parents made. What they sacrificed to leave the place that they loved. They didn't hate the village. They didn't hate those towns they came from. They didn't hate Greece. That's a major misconception. They loved it. They loved Greece. They loved being Greeks. But unfortunately, this guy called Hitler came along and devastated Greece. And then, of course, we had the civil wars. And, you know, they had nothing to eat.
Yeah.
They were poor, destitute. We know all this. I know we know all this. But
It's why we're all here.
But, you know, it's very important that we keep telling these stories because we need that context about where we came. So, you know, when we start getting a bit too big for our boots and we all get, you know, some of us become millionaires, some of us become billionaires. Greek people have done very well in this country.
Yeah.
Here's what it's important to remember where we came from. Once upon a time, our parents were all shoeless, penniless, some cases homeless, you know, without a bread roll to eat. And knowing that there was a better life somewhere else,
And what
they
a place
came
to
here
pick.
and allowed us
Yeah.
to become millionaires, billionaires, or, you know, build 3 units in reservoir, whatever.
Yeah.
But this is important. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%.
Sorry to take us on a bit of a
No, but I want
this is
to.
exactly
As I get older, I'm
I
getting
wanna
more
tap into
serious,
that
mate.
more.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm getting more serious, mate.
Mark Burris was talking about exactly the same thing when he,
He
was
stole
on the
it
show.
from me. Mark Burris stole it from me.
Well, the story he told was about his dad.
Wizard Home Loans was my idea.
Mark, what are you doing?
He's a cleft. He said clefties.
What about Yellow Brick Road?
All my ideas.
That's a village
Everything,
tea.
any good idea Mark Burris, and his name was Bouropoulos. He's Mark Bouropoulos. I know that for a fact.
Now, was it? He said it was Poponis. That was his original name.
I'm just joking.
I know.
You know what? If it was Poponis, I understand why he changed it to Boris. Isn't Poponi a pawpaw? Isn't it a fruit?
Yeah,
Poponi is
Poponi.
brockmelon.
Pep Bonnie's Rockmelon.
Rockmelon.
Yeah, well, if my name was Mr. Rockmelon, I'd be changing that.
Yeah, classic.
But I mean, the story he told was how
Yes.
there was there was a traveling troupe of performers that would come through the village.
Yes.
And the fare to go and see the price of the ticket to go and see this thing, that would come once a year, was a potato. And his dad didn't have a potato to go and see the show.
Sure.
And his nonno spotted him the potato to go.
When my dad was pretty ill a few years back, he started regressing in his mind in a strange way. And one day in the lounge room, he started speaking German. There was a German film on, and he was talking German back to the film. And I said, Baba, in Greek, where did you learn the German? He goes, the Nazis taught me.
Kidding.
Wow.
Same Kalamata, because that
My
Germans did
dad,
go there.
my dad's never spoken about this. Okay? So there he is at 80-something, talking German, singing the Nazi... There was a war film on. And the Nazi anthem was obviously a World War II war film. And the Nazi anthem comes on. My dad starts singing it. I said, how the hell do you know that song? He said, they made us sing it at school every morning.
Wow.
Yeah.
In Kalamata.
So you want perspective? You want to know how good our lives have been?
Jesus.
Yeah, man. There I am, and I'm blown away by this.
Does he talk about that era?
Never spoke about it.
So is this in Kalamata now?
So now, he's older. He's kind of, like I said, his mind wasn't quite there. You know what I mean? He was ill. This is what happens, yeah? And so he's going to some strange places. And so I just, without making too big a deal with it, I said, so Dad, so what, you say? He goes, every morning, yeah, while they were there. He said, and there was this one Nazi and he saved me and my mother from getting killed. He liked me. So he hid us under the house one day when they came looking for my mother and father.
Wow.
What a
I'm
story.
like, hey, man, whoa. So, there's a lot of things our parents haven't told us, or our grandparents, or our great-grandparents. What we've got to appreciate and understand is we're very lucky to live in the era we live in. Because there was a time and place in the world, in that era, when life was pretty meaningless, yeah? And despots and dictators and these awful men had an enormous amount of power. And countries like Greece were invaded, and many, many thousands upon thousands of people lost their lives. So, I'm a comedian, but I tell you what gives substance to what I do. Being able to make people understand through humour that we're incredibly lucky to have what we have and to be who we are. And who do we thank for it? People like my dad, who survived the Nazis. Yeah. So, that kind of tops it for me, I'm never going to have a better story to tell than that.
Yeah.
When I was 6, they made me learn the Nazi war anthem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, we've got to keep things in perspective, no matter how successful we become.
Yeah. How old was your dad at that time?
It was about about mid-80s. My dad died when he was 88. He only
sorry.
died 3 years ago.
Sorry. Oh, really? So
Yeah.
in Greece, how old was he when he had to learn the national
Well, that's a
anthem?
good question. So I reckon he would have been...
So it would have been 41?
Yeah,
1941,
yeah. So he was
42?
born 32. So he would have
8,
been,
9.
7, 8, 9.
9.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
7, 8, 9, around those years. Incredible, isn't
Unbelievable.
it?
Did he tell you now the stories about that? Because there's movies now being made about
Yeah,
what
no,
the
he
atrocities
told
that
me.
happened.
He told me that he did. He did tell me that a lot of people in his town died, particularly the people who fought in the resistance. That it was compulsory to sing the Nazi anthem every morning. That they were forced to learn German, and some of the Nazis were good people who actually were very, very nice to the locals, and it was on behalf of people like that that a lot of people survived. Yeah, so stuff like that, it feels like we're watching a film or something, but it's true. It's so bloody true.
Yeah.
And there's stories that I will treasure, and there's stories I talk about because I think we lose perspective sometimes on how lucky we truly are. Don't you reckon?
100%.
Yeah.
And look, Mark Burris and how many people on our podcast have said the same thing?
Virtually everyone to a T has spoken about something
there's some
similar.
17-year-old listening to this goes, yeah.
And at some point, we've all been that.
But they'll get it one day.
Yeah, when they get a bit
We're
older.
all there. We used to do the same thing.
Yeah, true.
Unbelievable.
So what if I'm Greek? This was me at 14.
Yeah.
I don't care that I'm Greek.
So we'll get to
So
that.
what, mate? No, mate, I'm a Nazi.
Yeah.
Don't say that anymore.
So what made your dad leave? So when did he leave? Remember when
So my dad left,
Greece?
my dad arrived in
How did he
Australia in
get here?
1959.
Yeah. How did he get here? Was it the Patris like everyone else?
Patris,
Another one.
which I talk about in my new show at length.
Do you?
Wow.
Oh, yeah. I talk about the Patris.
I reckon, Tom, we could nearly find out all the people on that boat now.
You probably could.
Nearly everyone we've asked.
I've got a list. I actually went back to, and the Ancestry.com is actually terrific.
Yep.
They've got all the shipping lists. So
Really?
I've actually got framed in my study both lists. The list that my father's passenger list on the Patris in 59.
Wow.
And his arrival, and my mother.
Yeah,
She
wow.
came on the Patris.
And surprisingly, they're spelled correctly.
Kidding. When
Because
did your
on my
mum?
birth certificate, my name was nowhere near what it should be.
Wow.
When did your mum arrive?
So
What
my
year?
mum arrived in 60. Both, in fact, both on the same Patris trip, but a year apart. So
Okay.
November 2nd for my dad, November 3rd for my mum.
November
So it was obviously
2nd.
the same giggle, the same
Yep.
It's a
trip.
great day. Yeah.
Yeah, they arrived a year apart. They didn't know each other. They met here through mutual friends, but I've got that list, and I love it.
Amazing.
I love it. I love seeing all the Greek names all in a row. You know,
Yeah.
and
Because my dad was on the 1963 one.
not
Patris.
the same. I can't photocopy the listing.
No, that's what I was hoping.
You're gonna have
You
to
said-
find. You're gonna have to find your own list.
Yeah, but you know what? My mum actually came on a Qantas plane. She flew here.
My papu as well.
Six
So what-
days. Took her
Yeah,
6 days
that
to get
started
here.
happening. What, late 60s, 70s?
62. No, she
Well,
was early.
55, my papu came out on one of the constellations.
Really?
1955, 6 days. Yep.
I actually found it and the flight number.
Did you?
Yeah, I don't remember what it was, but yeah, my mum was on it. They're all women.
How come
on the whole
she
plane.
came on a Qantas plane, not the ship? Mate,
idea.
those people in the Patris would have been looking up that plane going, "You bloody thing!
Yeah, don't
What
know.
they would do to be on the plane!" Mind you,
Classic.
planes in those days, how long would they have taken to
Yeah,
arrive?
6 days.
On a plane.
6 days, yeah.
Mate, the boat took 30
bang,
days.
bang. Yeah, would take off, landing somewhere.
You know what? If I went plane 6 days, boat 30, geez, a tough
24
time.
days.
I'd be taking the ship.
Yeah. But they're all women, apparently. She goes, they're all women.
Or proxies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Was
she
she a
had,
proxy bride?
no, she'd met my dad in Athens. And
She
my
knew what he
dad,
looked like?
My dad was, long story.
Yeah,
But they were from the same village.
Okay.
And my dad was on a merchant ship. So he'd sail around the world. And when he got back to Athens, he'd go to a particular hotel, Hotel Giannopoulos. And he'd look at the name list to see if anyone from the village was there. And he saw my mum's name and her dad. And he goes, I know them. I grew up with them. So he knocked on the door and then they met. What's happening in the village? Who's passed on? What's happened? Who's married who? All that sort of shit. Yeah. And my dad ended up, he must have fancied my mum. And he took her out. And he goes, I want to take you to a theatre. And my grandfather, he thought it was like a can dancing, like women.
Yeah.
He didn't know what a theatre was. And he goes, no way, I'm not taking you there. And after negotiating, my dad convinced both of them to go. He saw it, and it was like a 1821 War of Independence show, and
excellent.
grandfather started crying.
Colocotroni,
Something like that.
Right up his alley, huh?
my cousin.
Yeah. Oh, fuck, we'll touch on that. That's good. But, anyway, so my dad bought her a handbag, and then Dad was ready. He was going to the States.
Yeah, right.
And then he said to Mum, the proposal was, can I come to Australia with you? Mum was embarrassed. She said, meh, and that was it. That was the proposal. That was done. Sealed.
Yeah, you've got to admire that.
Yeah.
These
Simple
days,
times.
these days...
She was
it
coming
just
to meet
goes
her
on.
brother.
These days, unless you got the iPhone ready to capture it on Instagram,
Yeah.
it's like the engagement didn't even happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? Sorry to put things into a modern perspective.
What about the reveal
But there's
parties
something
now?
about the simplicity about how people did things back then
Yeah.
that I kind of envy.
Yeah.
You wanna
Because
get
it's
married?
because now it's a whole operation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you don't capture the moment for Instagram,
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't happen.
it didn't happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
Didn't happen.
Mate, exactly.
Did you get it on the iPhone?
Yeah.
Yeah, laddie.
I know.
But you know what I'm saying? There was
Yeah,
something,
absolutely.
There's something nice about the privacy and the efficiency
So
of the way people did
You
things.
should see how I did it with my Pethero in Greece,
Tell
because
us.
my wife, my wife's fresh off the boat, Greek.
Yes.
I did it as a joke, but I thought I'm gonna try my luck here. I met her dad the day that we, put logo dosame, that we got engaged.
yeah.
She wouldn't let me meet him before. She's like, no, you're only going to meet him the day that I'd met her.
She's
Mum.
obviously very worried.
She was
Yes.
very worried.
I can see what you meant.
So I go up there and I'm like, okay, I just met the guy, put my hand out, lovely to meet you. I'm like, look, let's make this easy. I go, 2 goats, a few curtines, and I'll take her off your hands for you. He goes, done. And that was it.
I said bargain.
He's pissed himself laughing. He's like,
was a
yep,
joke.
take
That's
it.
good. He had a sense of humour.
He does. But
Classic.
easy. Very
That
easy.
could have
about
gone
you?
either way.
What about
could
your
have.
cousin Steve? What about your cousin Steve?
Yeah, that was funny too, actually. So
He married a Crete, or he's Cretan.
he's Cretan, half Cretan, half Cypriot. So he went to my uncle with the Cretans do this thing with a knife.
He had a dagger.
Yeah, the dagger. He makes a dagger up with a name on it. He gives it to him, and he either accepts it, or if he doesn't want him marrying his daughter, he stabs him with it. Fortunately,
That
he
was the
left
tradition.
unscathed.
And that would be legal in Crete.
Yeah.
That's the least of it.
Stabbing is illegal in Crete.
That's the least of it in Crete.
I've had every Cretan tell me,
Yeah.
you know, you look at my sister, I kill you.
Yeah, that's right.
Mate, that's not, mate. Trust me, the way they talk about killing you and stabbing you, it's like Cretans there, mate. You don't mess with the Cretans.
Mate, they sleep with guns under their pillows, and
Yeah,
that's
no,
not
I
even
get-
exaggerating.
I made a joke once. I said, you're a Cretin. Well, you know, you seem like a pretty smart guy to me. Tipes?
Yeah. What was that?
Το Cretin, αυτό το Cretin. Τι μ' είπες?
Έλα εδώ.
Yeah.
I go,
Where's the exit?
I'll get my other Cretan mate. I go,
Yeah.
έλα εδώ, ρε, έλα εδώ. Πες του ότι it's just a joke.
Yeah.
Για ξέρεις, το παιδί είναι από την Αυστραλία, καλαμπούρι κάνει, δεν εννοούσε τίποτα έτσι, γιατί το Cretan και το Cretan is very similar, you know. Και τι similar, ρε. Ξέρω τι είναι το Cretan, με είπε ηλίθιο. My friend turns to me and goes, φύγε τώρα.
Yeah.
Τρέξε.
Γες γύρισε, φύγε και μην ξαναέρθεις εδώ. I haven't been back to Crete in 30 years. One Cretan joke.
Yeah.
Do not do the Cretan joke in Greece.
Yeah. Classic.
No sense of humour.
Classic.
But you know what I'm
Is
saying?
is that the
Look at
line
how
in
many
Greek
people
humour?
have been sucked in by that?
Yeah.
Because it's an obvious joke.
Yeah.
You're a Crete. Oh, so you're a Cretan.
Yeah.
No one laughing. 20
Yeah.
shotguns pointed at you.
Really. What about Con Pappy?
Don't mess with the Cretans.
They got disowned from Crete, didn't they? Remember that episode?
What happened?
Okay,
Who?
what?
What?
This guy,
Con Pappy's a wrestler.
pancreation
Oh, okay.
fighter. He was on the episode, and he said he's from, I don't know, somewhere in the Peloponnese, but originally from Crete. I said, what happened? Why did you leave? He goes, there was a vendetta against my family.
Oh, yeah, against his dad.
And then he said, I go, what happened? He goes, I don't, you know what it's like. Your guy Duri ate my maruli or something like that.
The donkey ate my maruli. That was the line.
This Aussie guy, he called him a Cretan, you know, and
Classic.
you know, instead of a Cretan, and
That's right.
And here we are.
Yeah.
Telos pardon.
Yeah, that's
Classic.
right.
So back to your parents. So,
Segueing back to my.
Yeah.
Oops,
Yeah.
jeez, I keep smashing this. Sorry about that.
so how
Nice
did they
segue
meet?
from Crete to my parents. Yes.
Yeah, so there you go. So how did they meet? Did they meet obviously from the Chorior? Did they?
No, I think
or they met here?
my dad was working in a hospital, and there was this guy there who was from my mum's village, and he worked with him, and he said, "Είσαι ελεύθερος?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Έχω μια ωραία κοπέλα. You know, I've got this nice girl I'd love you to meet. She's from my village. We're just friends." My dad goes, "Ah, yeah." You
Just
know,
like that, huh?
took her over to the house, brought him to the house one night. It's like that scene in The Godfather, you know, the women sitting on one side, the men on the other side.
Wow.
And then, you know, my mum and dad go for a walk with 50 people behind them, you know, through the Fitzroy Gardens, you know what I mean? What they exactly spoke about on that little walk, I got no idea. But by the end of it, they were engaged.
There you go.
Wow.
As I said to my dad, I see, you're a pretty smooth talker, Dad. One walk through the park, I go, τι είπες? He goes, yeah, τι είπα αυτά που ήθελα να ξέρει.
Yeah.
I go, fair enough. I told her what she wanted to hear. I go, you know,
Classic.
okay, all right. Mate, that's what happened. You know, they just
Yeah.
walk. You know, it's like the Godfather. You remember the scene, The Godfather?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, famous. Well,
Yeah.
that's what it. That's what it was. But instead of Sicily,
Yeah.
Fitzroy Gardens.
Yeah.
So you can imagine my dad walking past Captain Cook's cottage. You know, the fairy village. You know, as I've done many times walking through Fitzroy Gardens.
Yeah.
And just imagining him there, you know, with the 50 Greeks behind him, couple with shotguns, in case he
Classic.
did a runner, you know. Fairy! Stamata! Because, I mean, I guess, you know, it was
Yeah.
serious people.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, they survived the Nazis, man. These people weren't messing around.
100%.
Classic.
And look, let's just say this. There was an impetus to get married because, and I mean this in the way it's intended, that, you know, economically speaking, having, you know, a family and having two people working made it more economically viable to save up, buy a house and start a family, etc. Yeah?
Absolutely.
There was a need for that. I mean, I grew up for the first 7-8 years of my life without either of my parents home. I think that's why I became an actor. I was just, you know, I'd come home from school at 3:30 and I'd be in front of the TV.
Yeah.
You know, I can tell you what, Brady Bunch, Get Smart, Partridge Family.
Yeah. Hogan's Heroes.
Hogan's Heroes. Mate, one after the other. I mean, I think that's
Gilligan's
Smash.
Island.
Yeah, that's it, Gilligan's Island.
Same here.
That was my
Yeah.
life, man.
Yeah.
That was my life. In
Skippy.
fact, when I was old enough
Skippy
to
was
travel, I
early.
wanted to go to Gilligan's Island. I thought it was real.
Yeah.
Skippy was in the morning, you know. Skippy not so
Really?
much.
So we had it at
Skippy gave me the
3:30.
shits.
We had Skippy at 3:30.
Ah,
Then Gilligan's
different-
Island would
yeah.
kick in Sydney.
You're a bit younger than me, though.
I am
Yeah. Well, see, yeah. See,
73 born. So I
we
would
had 3 stations. You probably had 4.
Seven,
Did you have?
9,
You didn't
10.
have SBS yet.
ABC.
It wasn't 10. It was Channel O. I'll tell you how old.
Ah,
Oh, there he
yeah,
is. As
there
old
you
as
go,
me.
Georgie.
It was Channel O,
Yeah.
right? And you had to have the aerial a
Yeah.
certain way to get Channel O.
Oh, we had static the whole time. We could never work it out.
See, I had an uncle. He was good with the aerial.
Yeah.
He goes, "Hello, that's the man," and he just stand there for 2 hours while we watched the movie. You know what I mean? He goes, "Hello, the leopard." He just stand there. I go, "Hey, Theo, stay there.
It's the mother.
Perfect picture. Stay there."
Yeah.
And and we watch the wrestling. And he'd watch it like this. He'd sort of watch. Gospiros are here. While holding the aerial.
Classic.
But that was his job. He understood that,
Yeah.
and he was happy to do it.
And someone would come up and feed
Brilliant.
him, give him a drink so he wouldn't move.
Mate, we'd feed him through a straw.
Yeah.
So he was holding the aerial. Gospiera Mario Milano. But
Theo Pinas.
talk about the efficiency of streaming, mate. What we had to go through.
Yeah. Bloody
You know what I'm saying?
generation. eh?
Well, let's talk about growing up in Melbourne. What was it
We're
like
only 2
around that
hours
time?
in. Sure, let's go for it.
It's warming up.
What was it like growing up here in a Greek family? I mean, you've mentioned a little bit
In
about
the 60s,
Yeah.
pretty shit.
Yeah, really?
70s, still shit. 80s, a bit better. Not much. 90s, significantly better. Noughties, too good.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it was bad. It was tough. It's amazing when I get young kids coming up to me and they go, "Is it true they called you a wog?" I go, "Yeah, it's true. It's really true. I didn't make that up for a movie or or a TV show. It's true." And it's interesting how, as the years pass, and their familiarity with the word is sort of happening through the comedy,
Yep.
and the stuff I've done or whatever. Some kid calls a kid a wog at school. My God, it'll be the front page Herald Sun. The kid will be hung up and ostracised. I mean, you just don't do it anymore. It just doesn't happen. Thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Can I just ask you? So,
But back then it did happen, and
So-
it's interesting for me that people still, of a certain generation, believe it didn't happen. So it's important for us to remind them that it
Yeah.
did happen.
they know it happened, do you think?
No,
In Sydney,
no,
Sydney,
no.
they admit it.
No, it's interesting, because one of my little cousins, he was really baffled by it, and I get it.
Yeah.
They've got no experience of it.
Yeah.
So look, it's just about explaining it. There was a time when, for whatever reason,
Yeah.
our parents got called wogs, and then it sort of got passed on to us. We had no idea what it meant, because then they say, "Oh, what was a wog?" And you go, "Well,
Yeah.
I don't know."
Yeah.
My dad originally thought it meant welcome overseas guest, and he was a bit shocked to find out that's not exactly what it was.
Well, I was going to say, what does it mean? Where
Well,
where do you think it
well,
came
what
from?
does it- well, I personally, I think, look,
Like, where did the word
obviously,
come
I've had every skip under the sun come and tell me what it meant. I said, "Oh, did you work out what it meant before you called me that, or did you just go and anyway?" Mate, you know what? Australia had this country had a white Australia policy until 1972. I tell people this and they don't believe me, but it's true. No black people could migrate to Australia until 1972 when Whitlam repelled it. So I think back in the 60s, straight out of the hot Kalamata sun, I reckon my dad would be about the blackest thing a lot of them would have ever seen. So you're familiar with the term gollywog?
Yes.
Like a biscuit or something?
No, it was a biscuit in Australia.
doll,
That's right.
isn't it?
Arnott's used to have gollywog biscuits.
Okay.
Correct.
Yes. Yeah.
Gollywogs were black dolls with the hair.
Yes.
Right? It's now, but even by saying that, I could be charged now. It's an illegal word. You can't even say
Yeah.
that word anymore. All right, probably can't even say wog. I'm probably going to serve 20 years doing this podcast. I don't know. I have a feeling someone's going
what's
to
gonna happen to the show?
Someone's going to come and arrest me right now.
We'll put it out when you leave the country.
So that's why I think it's an English term. It's obviously an English term from
Yeah.
the black doll that was called the gollywog.
Okay.
And I think they kind of cut it, and it's just
right.
wog. And I think it had to do with our skin colour, the olive complexion, which obviously they weren't that familiar with.
Well, they're outdoors all day,
Well,
farming.
hey, mate, every time I go to Greece, I feel like I need sun. You know what I mean? They're very tan people.
Yeah.
So I personally, you ask me, I think that's what it was. But people
right.
say, "Oh no, it's Western Oriental gentlemen.
Yeah.
The soldiers in the First World War called the Egyptians that." No, they were calling them jippos, and an English Sergeant Major said, no, you won't refer to them as jibbos, you refer to them by their proper title as Western Oriental Gentlemen, which of course became Wog. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
To me, the simple explanation is gollywog, dark people, kind of dark people arrive off a boat, wogs.
It's easy.
Because that's what they used to call,
Yeah.
that's what they called dark people in the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in fact, there's a Faulty Towers episode, which has since been...
With the Major.
with the Major, when he goes, oh no, they were the Wogs.
Yep.
And he was referring to the dark people.
So it's an
People of
English
colour.
thing.
He used the N-word
So,
first.
you know what I'm saying? So look, I've thought about it obviously my whole freaking
Yeah,
life.
of course, yeah.
So I reckon that's what it was. I
Yeah.
reckon it was gollywog,
Yeah.
wogs being, people of colour in the UK.
Yeah.
Obviously this country being predominantly Anglo-Saxon, Anglo-Celtic, and whatever.
Yeah.
These Italians from Sicily, from Calabrese, the Calamatiani, the Cretans, not the Cretans.
Not the
The
Cretans.
Cretans. And they're going, who the friggin' hell are these wogs?
Yeah.
But probably not that nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I reckon that's what it was.
Yeah.
My dad would go to dances in St Kilda and they'd have a sign up that said no wogs allowed.
Yeah.
It was that blatant. It was that blatant. I think our parents just played along with it. We need to make some money and survive. We're not going to sit here and argue with these idiots. And then and the best thing about my dad was, and I'm sure your dads were the same,
Yeah.
that wonderful sense of humour they built up.
Laughed it off.
Well, they had to.
Yeah.
They had to laugh it off because remember, these were, in my dad's instance, this was a man who was stood over by Nazis when he was 8 years old. So this Anglo-Saxon racist pig was nothing compared to that.
Yeah.
But more importantly, he had a family, he needed the job, and like I remember being when I was very young, I saw my dad laughing it off all the time. Hey, all right, mate, yeah, no worries, mate. And then when he bought the milk bar, we had the milk bar. We were in milk bars from 1970 for a long time. I remember people coming into the shop. I was a young kid. He used to make me work in the shop, which was fantastic. And I'd work in my dad's milk bar 7 or 8, and I'd hear them come in and go, "Here he is, there's the Wog. Here you go, Wog. Hey, give me my packet of cigarettes, mate. Hey, all right, no worries, mate. All right, no worries. Marlboro? You Marlboro, yeah? Or you Stevenson? He's bloody good, this Wog. Yeah, Marlboros, mate, you got it." And I'd sit there watching this. It would happen all the time because my milk bar in Richmond was opposite a pub, the All Nations Hotel. So you want to see the formation of Nick G and why Wogs Out of Work happened and why that word's been synonymous with me my whole life? It's really easy. I'm the kid who grew up watching his parents being called that word every day. I'm the kid who went to school and got called that word the first day of school. That is something I've had to live with my whole life. Hey, I'm all right. I've survived it. We all have. But it doesn't leave you. So the first chance I got, when I became a professional actor, first of all, I spent a year not being able to find any work, and I was offered things like Greek fish and chip shop owners, because inclusivity and all the things that we know today, they did not exist back then, okay? There was no friggin' thing called inclusivity, all right?
just
There was no
typecasting.
woke culture, all right? Woke was something, Captain Snooze talked about, when you went to buy a bed, Don't know, just made that joke up. Don't know if that's funny, but you get my drift.
Yes.
But here's the point. Back then, people didn't understand any of that stuff. We were typecast. There was a guy on some show on TV calling us all Wogs. It was called Kingswood Country. Wog was still being used all the time. I couldn't find a job, People would say to me, we can't cast you anything before 1950. Why? Because there were no Greeks here before 1950. So, I thought I could be a Shakespearean actor. Yeah, with my Wog accent? Nah. To be or not to be? That is the question. Wasn't going to happen. And so, I went to acting school where they taught me how to be less of a Wog. In fact, I've got interviews with myself that I'm going to run in the new show, which are hilarious, where I talk like this. When I graduated from the VCA, I was actually talking like this.
Really?
Mate, I had completely gone over to the Anglo-Saxon side. And at one stage, I even shortened my name from Nick Giannopoulos to Nick Giannos, right? Because I truly believe that the only way I was going to make it as an actor, in the same way my dad believed he was never going to lose his job, by having to go at the racists by just laughing with them, I made the same mistake of saying, you know what? If I'm going to succeed, I need to shorten my name because they can't pronounce it, and I need to appear as less of a Wog. So, I took off the tight jeans. I started wearing the loose jeans, I started wearing the skippy clothes. I cut my hair, you know. I've got it back again. But I cut my hair. And, mate, I watched those early interviews of myself in those early years, and I was desperately trying to be whatever I believed to be a well-educated Aussie.
You wanted to adapt, blend in.
A good Australian.
Yeah.
A good Australian. I made the same mistakes my dad made.
Yeah.
All right? But we did it to survive. Luckily, I had this crazy idea one day, and I said to Simon Palomares, you know what, we should form a lobby group, march to Canberra and call ourselves WOW. And he said, what do you mean? What's WOW? I said, Wog's out of work. Yes, that's good. I like that. And we left it at that. A year later when the comedy festival started, George Capanyaris went to do Flying Doctors, and a comedy group they were doing called the Tabordi Brothers, which were a pioneer in ethnic comedy, had to disband for a while. Simon didn't have a partner. First Melbourne Comedy Festival was starting up. We were doing Theatre Sports Together, which was an improvisational thing every Sunday for fun. Kind of got to know each other. He said, hey, you want to do a show with me at the first Melbourne Comedy Festival? I go, oh, yeah? Well, I didn't know I was doing anything else. I said, oh, yeah? What do you mean, just you? He goes, yeah, you, me, we'll find someone else. He said, it's the first Melbourne Comedy Festival, you know? I said, it's 2 weeks long. I said, oh, yeah? What are we going to call it? He goes, how about that name you came up with, Wog's Out of Work? And I looked at him. Sliding door moment, yeah? This is my sliding door moment. And the minute he said it, looking at that poster with the words Wog's Out of Work on it, encapsulated to me what my whole life had been about up until that moment. You know? Having been treated like an outsider, now not being able to find work, and being categorised as this Wog thing, whatever that meant. And I just turned around and I went, yeah, good idea. And I sat down and Simon went and wrote his stuff. I went and wrote my stuff, and I loved it. I loved writing what I was writing. I loved now saying what I was about to say, because finally I was writing stuff about stuff that really meant something to me. Yeah? So, Wog's Out of Work, 1987, first Melbourne Comedy Festival. It's meant to run for 2 weeks. First 2 days, it's full of all these Anglo kind of intellectual types. Oh, yes, I see what they're doing. Yeah, it's very, you know, they've kind of, you know, taken the word and demystified it, and they've turned it back on itself in order to, all that shit, right? And that was kind of boring, you know. But hey, on day three, man, the Wogs had found out. And the Wogs had seen what we looked like, just like them, and they thought, you know what, this is worth checking out. And man, they come to the Universal Theatre in Fitzroy. I could hear the sirens out, the and I could hear them from my dressing room. I could hear them yelling, mate, there's no parking here. Where the fuck am I meant to park? I just double park at Malacca. And I thought, oh shit, now we've got something. So people who normally didn't go to theatre, people from the suburbs of Melbourne, the Wogs I grew up with, started coming. And man, the laughs were so different to the previous 2 nights with the comedy festival audience. Yeah. Now we're working and doing shit to our own people. I'm looking across as a guy with one eyebrow like me and the same haircut, you know? I'm looking at this other girl, she's got the raised hair like my sister, you know? I can smell the gel in the air. Yeah? And I'm like, you know what? This is what I'm meant to be doing. Yeah. This is it, man. You know, you ever had those moments, if you're lucky enough in life, to just all of a sudden go, yeah, man, this and the laughs are real and they're raw and they're coming from this place and we're sharing these stories. And, you know, it was, man, I walked off after that night going, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life if I can. Yeah. And that show went from 2 mate, then, of course, you know, Wogs being Wogs. Malacca, you've got to go see this show, Wogs Out of Work. What is it? Yeah. Before you knew it, we'd go to a bigger theatre. Yeah. Went from a 50-seater to a 400-seater to an 800-seater. Then we end up in Sydney, the Opera House. Then we end up at the Enmore Theatre. Mate, we played Melbourne for a year. We played Sydney for a year. We got so successful, we had to create a second Wogs Out of Work company to tour the rest of Australia. Wow. We had tour companies. The show ran for 3 years. I did 1,565 shows myself, all right? Non-stop. We were working Tuesday to Sunday, 8 shows a week. We were doing 8,000 people a week. There was no streaming. There were 3 TV channels. Remember my uncle with the aerial holding it up like that? Yeah. That's it. Yeah. So, man, and this is the other thing about the 80s. People went out. People went out because if you didn't go out, Man, you didn't have a life.
Yeah.
There was no iPhone to check on where everyone was at. You had to go out, and people went out. We went out for coffee.
Yeah.
You go for coffee.
For hours.
Go for coffee. And you sit there and you talk.
That was the destination.
I'm sure in Sydney you had a coffee place.
100%. You went plenty.
Yeah, Marrickville would have coffee places. Brighton Les Sands would have coffee places. Where else?
Marrickville, Brighton. Where else?
Well, Brighton's our hood, so.
That's where.
Elwood.
Elwood.
Where Oxley Charles comes from. Elwood.
Yeah.
Mate, same here.
Yeah.
And the discos. Hey, the discos. That's where we went to. Just let loose and dance and meet a prospective wife.
So we got fit.
Proto
dancing
Tinder.
all night.
Mate, seriously, and they were great days. Anyway, so those, and
So
that
you
of
did
course led to,
1,500.
and that of course, the success of that of course led to the TV show.
Yeah, that's
Unbelievable.
massive. So 1565 episodes. You
what?
performed on stage.
Oh,
for
that
3
all
years.
up in my career, I'm close to 3,000 now, and this current show that I'm about to do is my last show.
Really?
I've turned 60, and I've decided that's it, and I think I'm going to get just past 3,000 by the end of this show. I don't know how I'm going to feel yet, but I just know that 37 years, all good things must come to an end. And I'm one of these guys, I spoke to a footy player once, and I said, how do you know when it's time to retire? He said, oh, you'll know. How? He goes, you'll know. That's all he said, you'll know. He was right.
So why now, though? Because you walked in here today.
You know what it is?
And you look fit as hell.
Yeah.
You're at the top of your game in many respects.
Yeah, because I don't
Why
want my
now?
life to just be defined by this. I want to go do some other stuff.
Yeah.
I've carried the Wog flag for 37 years. I think I made my point.
Yeah.
In fact, there's a lot of people out there that say, you've made your point over and over. And hello to all of you. Love you.
Yeah.
More importantly, I want to do one more because I've got these incredibly loyal fans.
Yeah.
A lot of them are going to be in the audience, and they would have been in the audience for Wogs Out of Work. I'm incredibly appreciative, in a sincere and honest way, of their commitment to me, to my shows, to everything I've ever done. And I just, instead of just disappearing, I wanted one last show where I could be on stage and go, hey, thank you. Thank you for making my dreams come true. Thank you for making my parents proud. Thank you for allowing me to live the life I wanted to live. This show is for you. Let's sit back, let's laugh, let's enjoy ourselves, and most importantly, we survived. We survived the Wog thing, and that's what it is. And this show will be very much the material which I've written for this show is very much about our lives as Wogs, all the stuff we talked about here, yeah, which I'm just touching on here.
Yeah.
But obviously in the show, and a lot funnier in the show, by the way.
Yeah.
It's going to be very much a journey about how we've survived, how we're going to, how our kids are going to, well, not my kids, I don't have any, but your kids, the kids are going to survive. It's going to be all right, It's going to be okay. And more importantly, that era we lived through is unique.
Yeah.
And we should celebrate the fact that we survived it.
Yeah.
And that's all it is.
mean,
and that's important. And that's really important.
Definitely. I mean, you're putting a bookend on this now. Do you feel as though...
Yeah.
Did we win, is the question.
I bloody won. I showed them, I
Definitely.
mean...
I agree, Tom.
Any idiot who called me a wog, they paid the price for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's the saddest part. For everything that changes, some things stay the same. And don't think in any shape or form we have stamped out racism, I have enormous respect for the people who fight for inclusivity. Where were you 30 years ago? That's all right. You're here now. Good on you. I'm all for people trying to give a voice to people who don't have a voice. But there is a hidden subtext in this country. All right? It's there. It's not, they don't voice it as much anymore, right? Because they know they can't. Because if, they'll do it once on Facebook, they'll get barred, right? But let me tell you, I still hear from them.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Give us some examples. What do you mean?
going
What's
on?
racism
I
today?
block 5 people a week off my Facebook page.
So they do say,
Do they say?
yeah,
Oh, yeah, and it's never their names.
Wow.
yeah.
But, it's that old racist...
The old keyboard warrior.
And he's been watching me, and he's watched me. But you know what? I love it. Because if I wasn't successful, he wouldn't have bothered.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
So every time one of those writes me this disgusting message, whether privately or on one of my feeds,
Yeah,
I go, yeah, that's another one I've pissed off.
yeah.
So I'm just kind of, all those kids that are lined up against me, I'm just going, hey, Malaka.
Look,
Hey,
but the
Malaka.
good
It's a good
thing
way to
that
look
you've
at
done. The good
But
thing,
you have to look at it that way.
Absolutely.
You have to rise
yeah,
above it.
Yeah.
definitely.
But seriously, every day. At least 5.
Yeah.
Can I just say, that's what you've done really well. Yeah, we all copped it, but you didn't survive. You thrived. You've just gone to this other level now where you've made a whole career out of it.
The best form of revenge
and most
is
Greeks
success.
are like that. Yeah.
Best form of revenge is success. My dad told me that.
Yeah.
He said, you really want to get back at people, you become successful at what you do. He said that's the best way.
Yeah.
And revenge is a dish best served cold.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how long it takes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the Greeks, and that's a very kalamatiano thing. Let's be honest about that.
Yeah.
I don't know how many kalamatiani you know. I know people from Kalamata you know, but never cross a kalamatiano.
Yep.
Man, he will remember that shit for the rest of his life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, he will implant it in that little chip inside his brain.
You said it yourself. You remember. You must.
So, look, the Greek side of me is a big part of it because as Greeks, we have survived 400 years of occupation. We have survived invasions from the Nazis, from all sorts of people, throughout our history. We are incredible survivors. Our culture survived. It's still intact. Hellenicism is alive and well and thriving throughout the world. And I say that with pride. And maybe 40, 50 years ago, I wouldn't have said any of this. Because Aussies would have been jumping down my throat. Imagine me on the Today Show 40 years ago talking about Hellenicism. What's that Wog talking about? Change channels, put it on Good Morning Australia.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now the wonderful thing about the way the world is now is that we can be honest and without fear of retribution. I can sit here on this podcast and tell you exactly what's on my mind, and what I've been through.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Don't you reckon?
100%. Yeah, definitely.
Podcasts are a good thing. These are fantastic.
Yeah,
I mean, we never
definitely.
had these 30. I wish we had these 30, 40 years ago. Mind you, I don't think my one would have gone to air, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's important for your listeners, whichever guest you have on, to hear these and learn. We all learn from each
100%.
other, man.
Yeah.
That's how humanity survives. We learn and thrive, And look, for me now, I've turned 60. There's other stuff I want to do. What I've got left,
Yeah.
I don't know what that is, but traveling, a bit of this, a bit of that. But I want to, so I'm just retiring from live stuff, yeah?
Yeah.
But I'm not, I want to do other stuff.
So you got plans, obviously.
Look, plans. I'm a Greek. The plans.
But Greeks always move forward. We never stand still.
Yeah, if you stand still, any culture stands still, you're going to be in trouble. You never stand still. No, but look, more importantly,
Is there something you can share with us now? What your
I'm going to
plans
let
are?
Look, I'll tell you a great story.
Yeah.
Right? So I went to America in the 90s, right? And as I said earlier, I was a big fan of the show Gilligan's Island, okay? And I'm walking past this supermarket and I see this sign saying, live this Saturday, 2 p.m., Gilligan himself.
Wow.
I thought, mate, have I come at the right time or what?
Yeah.
My childhood idol, Gilligan,
Yeah.
is going to be at this supermarket at 2 o'clock on Saturday. I'm going to be there. So I walk in, about 5, 10 people there, and me. And there's this Bob Denver, the actor. And he's wearing the red Gilligan cardigan. The guy's about 75 now,
Yeah.
right? He's wearing the red cardigan. Of course, he's not the young, sprightly Gilligan we remember. He's obviously a 75-year-old man.
Yeah.
He's got that red Gilligan cardigan, that stupid pants he used to wear. He's got that stupid Gilligan hat
White
on.
hat, yeah.
And I'm looking at him. And don't forget now, this is 92. I'm doing Acropolis now, which is a sitcom.
Yeah.
And I looked at him and I thought, you know what? That is one of the saddest friggin' things I've ever seen. That at 75, this man, in order to make $1, has to put on the Gilligan hat and the Gilligan outfit and come to this suburban supermarket to appear in front of, 10, 20 people who remember him. That ain't going to be me. Since that moment, my whole life has been about that Gilligan moment and avoiding it.
Yeah.
I don't want to be Cousin Jim at 75 at your local supermarket with the Monaro out the front, the tight jeans, a fake monobrow because I've lost my real one, and the mullet at 75 going, here you go, mate. Effie's not here. I think she's dead.
Oh, wow.
I don't want to be that guy in this. Is that fair enough?
Yeah, mate. That's
Well, to that point, John Cleese said the same thing about Fawlty Towers. That it had its run. John Lennon said the same thing about the Beatles.
I love the fact that you're mentioning John Lennon and Cleese in the same sentence as my name. That alone is a massive achievement for me.
Well-
but please keep going.
Three legends.
Keep going.
Well, what you're saying, sits right up against what they said. They don't want it to go past its use-by date.
Yeah.
I think John Lennon said, I don't want to be singing these songs, please please me when I'm in my 50s. You know what I mean?
Well, mate, I don't want to be doing Cousin Jim in the supermarket at 75.
Fair enough.
Or the Wog jokes at 75. I really don't. And in fact, this show's really interesting. It's writing this show, I'm a very different person to Wogs Out of Work.
Yeah.
But, humour's changed as well.
Yeah.
Comedy's changed.
Absolutely.
In what way can you
I
elaborate?
tell you how. When we start, the sketch-based stuff I started doing was very much in vogue in the late 80s. We'd do a sketch and characters within that sketch and stuff. But the importance of stand-up now is greater than ever. And I've really been turned on to that, right? When I started in the business, I never wanted to be a stand-up. Stand-up to me was like, because I was a trained actor at the VCA. And, when I was a kid, I wanted to be Marlon Brando. That didn't work out.
The Greek Marlon Brando, ella.
Something. But more importantly, I discovered through comedy that you could do a lot more. And I loved it. And I fell in love with it, and that's what I did. But more importantly, stand-up back then for me was a no-no. But watching Dave Chappelle, Ricky Gervais, and many, many others, over the last 10 years, I've started to appreciate that simplicity and power of one man, a microphone, a spotlight, and an audience. And I did it for the first time, when was it? Wog Boys Forever. We decided to screen the film before the cinemas at the Enmore Theatre and the Palais Theatre in Melbourne. And I did a half an hour stand-up before the movie started. It's the first time I've ever performed by myself, with no one else, right? And I loved it. And people loved it. I got such a fantastic response from that. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to do one more show. I'm going to go back and do something I've never done, a one-man show. I've never done a one-man show. All the shows I've ever done, Wogs Out of Work, Wogorama, Wog Boys, Wog Story. We'd be here all night if I kept going through them. They were all with other people, yeah? Whether it was a Merrick Kustis, a Vince Colosimo, whether it was a Sushi Mango, a Capañaris, a Palomares. Mate, I've worked with the best of the best, right? And I've been blessed and fortunate.
All those names.
All those wonderful names. I've worked with all those people in all my shows. But I thought, you know what? The last one, let's go back to the beginning. Just you, after 37 years, on a stage with the spotlight and a mic. And that's what it is.
Beautiful.
And I play 3 different characters. I do the taxi driver. These are my favourite characters. And let me tell you, the taxi driver is... he's off the leash in this show.
Really?
And
More than in Fat Pizza.
forget Fat Pizza. And let me tell you something.
Are your pants still high up or?
Now, people say to me, where's the inspiration for the taxi driver? That's my dad.
Is it really?
Taxi driver's my dad. Oh, yeah. Watching the nightly news with my dad was the best thing, was the best part of my day. All right. Basically, when you see...
The running commentary?
Yes, the running commentary.
Yeah.
So the taxi driver is... and I've written it, so I can tell you, it is full on.
Yeah.
All right? But very funny. In the same way it was in the Fat Pizza film.
So is it all new material? Or you're
Yes, all new
rehashing?
material.
Oh, wow.
No, believable. Very new material. Very up to date. Very much about the world right
So
now.
life in 2023.
Mate, it is the world right now, 2024.
Yeah.
Okay? There's nothing. This show is 2024.
Okay.
It's where the taxi driver is right now. And the same with Petrula.
Okay.
Now, there's the Petrula skid. Now, Petrula, obviously, that's my mother's name.
Yep.
Okay? My mother was a cleaning lady. So Petrula is a huge exaggeration of my mother.
Yeah.
But the journey Petrula goes on in 2024 is something to behold as well.
Okay.
Now, through these characters, I have the wonderful ability to make commentary, yeah? Through these wonderful characters, you know, through their eyes, through their world. But I love the fact that what they have to say is very poignant right now, okay? And funny. And then we go to me. And in between, I've got stuff of my past, right? Like stupid interviews with me, even stupider than this one. You know, clips from all my stuff I've ever done. You know what I mean? So it's like, instead of writing a book, I've done this show.
Yep.
Beautiful.
So instead of it being my
Autobiography.
biography, this is it. But more importantly,
Brilliant.
the stand-up then, which is the last part of the show, is a continuation of what I started 2 years ago and what I'm most excited about. Because a lot of people won't realise it's something I've hardly ever done, you know? And I love it, and I'm glad I finally got around to it. And, you know, and I hope everyone who comes along enjoys it. I have a great night. And that's the most important thing of all, is everyone has a great night.
Yeah, perfect.
Spend their hard-earned money, and they come along and they spend it with me, and I make them laugh and think and cry, maybe, and not about the ticket price. Yeah. And we'll see what happens. And, I'm going all around Australia. I'm just going, I'm coming to Sydney, Enmore Theatre, which I've been performing at since 1988.
Yeah.
So that'll be emotional, saying goodbye to the Enmore.
So what is the run? Take us through it.
So the show's called Wog Life. If you're interested, just go to woglife.com. All the info's on the website. We open February 9th in wonderful Adelaide. And then we move on to Melbourne, to the Palais Theatre. Then we go to Brisbane, to the Powerhouse. Mm-hmm. Then we come to the wonderful Enmore in Sydney. And then we move on to Wollongong, the Gong, Anita's in Thirroul. And then last but not least, I'm going to Perth, who've been huge supporters of mine from the start of my career. In fact, we were performing Wogs Out of Work in Perth when Acropolis now went to air.
Yeah, wow.
So special singing. And again, the Regal Theatre in Perth, which I've been going to for 37 years. So it's going to be an emotional tour. I can't promise you I'm not going to cry at the end. My last show's in Wollongong, thank God. I don't know anyone there.
Really?
Yeah.
So many Greeks there.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
But look,
so this is it.
It's one of the most exciting things I've ever done, because again, turning up to that theatre by myself is something is very new to me.
So you've never done a show on your own?
It's my first and last one-man show.
Wow.
How about that?
Do you have any people that sort of inspired you at all when it comes to the
everybody
the
I've ever watched?
Really?
From Eddie Murphy to Richard Pryor to all the guys I mentioned before to Whoopi Goldberg, who I went and saw on stage in the 80s in New York.
She's brilliant.
To Lily Tomlin. I mean, there's so many.
Yeah.
There's so many. And you know what? I kind of feel like, right now, comedians are some of the most important people in the world. With this fight back against political correctness, this ability they have to make us think twice about things, and more importantly, the value of freedom of speech.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm in the same category,
Definitely.
And people say to me, say, why haven't you been cancelled? I go, cancelled about what? What do you want to cancel me over? What, pointing out the fact that you guys called me a wog when I was growing up? Oh, right, I hadn't thought about it that way. I said, well, think about it that way. Well, cancel me for what? Focusing on racism? Identity?
How dare you?
I said, you guys have got this cancel thing the wrong way round. I said, mate, it's still a free country. You can still get up there. So, you know what I'm saying? This is what's happened. People have kind of twisted the whole idea about what this all means.
Yeah.
You're still allowed to speak your mind in this country, last time I checked. And that freedom of expression is as important now in comedies as it's ever been. And that's why you watch Dave Chappelle's latest show. It's fantastic.
That's what I was going to ask you about.
I went and watched him live in Melbourne. I mean,
really?
Oh, man, it's great.
I mean, Chappelle and Gervais have been in the news in the last few days.
Great.
What do you make of that? Because they're up in arms.
I love it that comedians are in the news. It just tells you where we're at.
And people calling for those shows to be pulled.
The most honest people in the world right now are comedians. Comedians are more popular than they've ever been. Comedy's more popular than it's ever been. And it's interesting, old comedy's becoming popular with the younger generation because they've never seen stuff like that. They go back and watch some of my early clips. I mean, the Fat Pizza thing's really interesting. They go to me, how'd you get away with that?
Yeah.
These kids growing up now.
That's pretty unhinged.
Just that. Not even millennials, younger than that. I don't know what you call, Gen Z, I don't know what they're called.
Yeah.
The young ones.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, man, how did you get away with that stuff? They say that to me about Acropolis now.
Yeah.
And I get it. Because the world has changed. And they're so careful now about everything they have to say. And look, there's good in that, but there's also bad. There's bad in the fact that people, I feel, don't feel as free to express themselves as they once did.
Sure.
And people are scared. People are scared now to say what they think. You know what? We weren't scared to say what we thought. And that was a good thing. Because we changed the world as a result of that. And, whether it's Faulty Towers, Acropolis now, people were prepared to take a punt and take a risk, with comedy. And I hope it stays that way. I hope we never lose that ability to keep taking risks. Because, we stop taking risks, shit's going to become real boring. We've got to mix things up. And you know what? It's our job as comedians to push the envelope.
Yeah.
Keep pushing it. We do that. The best comedians, we talked about Gervais. Mate, he'll push it right, I hope that's what I've done.
That's why they're so popular. And comedians always say stuff that you're thinking but you'd never say.
Good.
You're always thinking, oh,
That's our
fuck,
job.
he's actually said it. Oh, my God, I thought that.
And isn't it great? Isn't it a great feeling?
It
and
is.
the best part is when you look around the room and everyone else is laughing.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, it's not just me.
Yeah. So it makes you think everyone thinks the same thing.
When I was doing the Wog stuff with Wogs Out of Work in 87, those first few weeks, watching everyone turning around, looking at each other, realising we'd all had the same experiences, was very unifying.
Yeah.
And it was strengthening. By that I mean it gave us the confidence to go out there. This is what comedy can do, to go out there and be able to laugh at ourselves. And that ability to laugh at ourselves increased our confidence in us. No longer were we talking about shortening our names. No longer were we self-conscious about our so-called Wog accents. Now they were a badge of honour. We wore them as a badge of honour. And the whole Wog thing then just exploded, yeah? The subculture of being a Wog. Then we started to celebrate the fact that we had Franco Cozzo furniture in our houses. We started
Rest
to
in peace.
appreciate the fact that our mothers covered it in plastic. We appreciated the fact that we loved V8s and we started to embrace, instead of pushing that stuff away and feeling like, we were different to everybody else and somehow didn't belong. Nah. Now we were like, yeah, mate, we're cool. We're cool because we know what we're like and we're honest about it. And that's what the Wog humour has been and will always be. It's about who we are, who we really are, what we really think, and more importantly, how we have this ability to laugh at ourselves. And I think the fact that it's taken on as much as it has in Australia is because Aussies love that more than anything.
Yeah.
That English thing that they've inherited, that Anglo-Celtic thing of taking the mickey, larrikinism, having a laugh, that's something they appreciate in us, yeah? And, Aussies, I hear the old Aussies talk to me about, oh, no, the migrants back in the 50s were a lot better than now. Yeah, you know why? Because our dads and mums sat there and took their friggin' racist jokes, because we were tolerant, because we just thought, who are these? Inside of ourselves we were saying, what malacca this, But on the outside we were smiling and being good migrants, yeah? Okay, all right, whatever. We got through it, yeah?
Yeah.
But Wogs Out of Work changed that. We weren't the good migrants anymore. What my dad was, that wasn't me.
Yeah.
And future generations, I'm happy to say, have progressed that even further.
Yeah.
And I hope we'll continue to progress it further. But this Wog here, he's going to be out of work again.
I highly doubt that.
The attitude of the Greeks towards us as diaspora has changed a lot too. When I first went there, 70s, 80s, they used to make fun of us with our broken Greek, with our skewered vision of Hellenicism. But when I did the film Kings of Mykonos, I saw, when I went there to do that film, I saw something completely different. With the advent of, one good thing about social media and, the globalization of the world is the Greeks have become a lot more familiar with the diaspora story, with the story of our parents and all the other migrants who left Greece and went to other countries, yeah? And subsequently, the success a lot of those people have had in America, the UK, all over the world, Australia, has really made an impression on them, particularly in sport. What I'm getting at is the wonderful thing now is there's an enormous respect where there never was before for the diaspora and an understanding of, what we've been through. And the fact that I went back to Greece to make a film there, about them, and it was all about an Aussie Greek kid being swindled by them over his inheritance. I think that's when they respected. They said, "Now you understand the Greeks," And they said to me, because I was talking about stuff that came out a couple of years later about the crisis and about the corruption that was going on in Greece. This is all in the film, in a comedic way. But no one has loved that movie more than the Greeks. It's
really?
on Greece.
I can vouch for that because I watched that film in Greece, in Athens.
And isn't it different over there? And the respect I get when I go back there, the respect I get from the Greeks for highlighting all those things. I thought they were going to throw rocks at me. I thought they were going to kick me out of the country. To the contrary.
Really?
To the contrary. Don't forget we're the we're the people that created democracy. Okay, and the arts. So there's no one more appreciative and understanding of the arts than the Greeks, and they respect the artist. And this is what I learned from the Greeks, what I'd never felt here in this country. Here we love our sports people, you know, and we love our actors if they, you know, they go to America and they win an Oscar. Sure. In Greece, if you're an artist, whether it's an actor, a singer, a creator, man, respect.
Really?
Yeah. Whether you make it or not, you know, the artist is revered in Greece because throughout their history, the Greeks have had, you know, Socrates. They've had some of the most outstanding artists of all time. I mean, there's Greek filmmakers now who are, you know, making incredible work, who are so highly praised and respected in Greece, whether they win awards or not. But the fact that you put yourself out there and you do shit, they respect that. The respect I got from them after that movie, I've never got here. When I go to do an interview here, they start laughing before I've even done the interview. Oh yeah, we got the studio today, we got a funny guy here today, he's that Greek funny bastard, this guy. He's that Wog guy we all know, that Wog Boy. Hey, a big rolling on 2K coo, 3K kaboo, on the Baz, Jocko and Mako show to Nick Giannopoulos. You know how many of those intros I've had to sit through?
Wow.
And you know, I'm only saying this shit because I'm retiring soon.
Yeah.
You know how many of those bullshit intros I've had to sit through?
I could
First interview I do in Greece.
Yeah.
And with us today, we have an amazing individual. A man who, you know, and I'm like, the reverence in the voice.
Yeah.
And I'm going, they're talking about me.
He's looking over his shoulder.
Yeah.
And here's the part. And Kyrie Giannopoulos, kalos ήρθατε.
Wow.
Mr. Giannopoulos.
If you please.
And the Greeks, the politeness in the Greek language, in the way Greeks, in the Greek culture, sadly, is something we don't have enough of here within our culture.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm getting at? The Greeks, when I did the talk shows over there, right?
Yeah.
They are so incredibly polite. There is a way to say things and to construct things to not create offence, and to at all times be deemed to be respectful. You know what I'm saying? Well, they're the shows I did anyway. I'm sure there's other shows that are nothing like that.
No, you're right.
But I watched Zeta, my good friend Zeta, doing this quiz, that game show. Man,
Rook Zook.
have you ever seen a game show host be as polite and as nice to people as Zeta on Rook Zook Rook? You know what I mean?
She's beautiful, just FYI.
And mate, the Greeks are beautiful. The Greeks are incredibly That respect, I learned that from them. And I thought, geez, you know what? It's a shame we don't have more of that and less of that Anglo-Saxon thing we picked up. You know, where we're just hanging shit all the time. Don't get me wrong. The Greeks are great satirists. And what's that wonderful show on Antenna with those boys?
Radio Arvilla.
Thank you.
Love it.
And what wonderful satirists they are. And the satire that it's not hanging shit.
Yeah.
It's politically motivated satire with a direct aim.
And it's a tasteful.
Oh, if only we had shows like that here.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all about these prank shows and making fun of people, watching them trip, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It just, you know, prank calls. And nah, man, that's not satire. We invented satire, you know that. Satiria is a Greek thing.
Absolutely.
So I love going to watch the Greeks do satire because they do it right.
Yeah.
And Arvilla's a great example.
They're next level. That show.
They're great satirists.
They don't
As Lazopoulos was.
Yes.
As Lakis was, who I've had the great pleasure of meeting and becoming friends with. You know, mate, even Psalti was a great satirist. You think Psalti wasn't making fun of the Greek character?
Yeah.
You know?
Top notch.
That's iconic.
And the Greeks, the first thing they ask me, they go, έχεις κανέναν θείο, τίποτα γένιο που ήταν ηθοποιός? And on one show I said, no, I don't think so. And one lady found out that a grand uncle of mine was a famous Greek actor in movies in the 50s.
You're joking.
I think his name was Andreas Giannopoulos. I think I've got that wrong, but I've forgotten his name now. Anyway, I rang my dad that night.
Great uncle.
He goes, he goes, no. I go, why you tell me that? The Greeks knew of some Giannopoulos guy who wasn't a top tier, but some middle-level comedian doing films in the 50s
Wow.
who looked like me.
Wow, there you go.
And that's an era in Greek film that is like that unbelievable.
Mate,
level.
I have never been prouder in my life. that my genealogy dated back to some guy, and I thought, you know what? That's the great shame of our parents leaving Greece and coming here. We lost that connection, with our ancestors.
Yeah.
You know, and there's so much great stuff in our backgrounds, all of us, that we've probably missed out on. You know, and now I want to go back to Greece and track this guy down.
Yeah.
You know, like you just did then, trying to Google him.
I tried to find him.
I think I got the first name wrong, but he was there. I want to go track his film because I can't do it here. I'm going to track his films down. I'm going to track his fight. I'm going to find people who worked with him because this stuff is important to me.
Yeah, definitely.
That's unbelievable.
Anyway,
So Giannopoulos comedian in the 50s. Who would have
Sure,
thought?
man.
It's in the blood.
So you know what? What I loved about finding out is I'm continuing something. Isn't that a great thing?
Absolutely.
I'm continuing something that started before I was born.
Yeah, wow.
I was
your
born to do
ancestors.
this.
Yeah.
And I mean, you've mentioned a bunch of names there that are, absolutely iconic, but
And some of them are going to sue me for sure. Really? But that's for another day.
we'll leave that one. But I mean, people like Zeta.
Love Zeta, beautiful lady. No, I mean that sincerely.
She is.
I was so lucky when I got blessed when I cast that girl. Makis Gazis, my casting director, got to know me. We hung around Athens together for 2 weeks, and he did such a wonderful job with the actors he brought in to see me because he got to know me, and he came to understand what it was I required as a persona, you know. And the Greeks are very instinctive like that. They read people really well. I'm sure you've noticed this about Greek people. They can read the room. So he said, "I've got the right girl for you." He said, "I know you're going to love her. She's done a couple of movies. She's on the rise. She's a beautiful. I think this is the girl." And I wanted a brunette. You know, the last thing I wanted was for some reason, I don't know. I just didn't. I always figured the character Zoe is a brunette. And Zeta walks in, and the first read we did together, I just thought, wow, Maki's got it right. First of all, she's absolutely stunning. I mean, the biggest problem with Zeta was the lack of believability that a guy could actually entice a woman like that. You know what I mean? No, that was the biggest. And I said that to her. I said, you know what the biggest problem is going to be? Yeah. You're just too beautiful, you know? A guy like me, she goes, no, we will make it work. It's okay. It's okay.
Wow.
It's okay. And she was so. She said, "Oh no, you should see my last boyfriend." You know, I'm not naming names. She said, "Oh no." So, and her English was great, and I mean, you guys know now, but she just epitomised to me all the best things about Greek women. You know, style, 100%. Grace. You know, all the beautiful things that I'd had. Anyway, so and then alongside her. He brought a whole heap of other great actors who've since gone on and had great careers in Greece. Dimitris Starovas, who everybody loves. Dimitris now, he's a superstar now.
Is that Jimmy's?
Jimmy, yeah. Starova, man, I love that guy.
Comedy genius.
We became like cousins. He was like, like real cousins in the film. But
he was a classic.
Man, I got lucky, man, Yeah.
And a great guitarist too.
And people say to me, how did you make such a career? I say, I just got lucky.
Yeah.
I was there at the right time, the right place. I met the right people, whether it was George, whether it was Mary Kustis, whether it was Vince, I just met the right people at the right time. I got surrounded by incredibly talented people. And, man, that's how it works, And that's how you find success. You can't do it on your own.
Yeah.
You guys found each other. And now you're Ouzo Talks.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Definitely, 100%.
That's how it works, man.
It is.
Sometimes in life, you just got to get lucky.
That's
Mate,
it.
I found him outside the men's toilets. That's another story.
That's true. At Qantas.
He started. He was new on the floor.
I'm being very quiet because there's more legal proceedings coming if we
Took him to HR.
Oh, okay. You work for Qantas?
We both did.
We've left that company now.
You're baggage handlers? Because I was just going to tell you off because I've, back in those days, my luggage used to arrive like 3 hours
Get
late.
in line.
And if Greeks were working there, I kind of understand.
It's all Greeks.
We're head office. But
your head office?
Yeah, we're head office, for airports.
Wow. Airports and freight. Communications and operations.
And that's when Qantas was a really good airline.
It was. Late 90s, 2000s.
Oh, the best years.
Yeah.
The best years, mate.
It was.
Yeah.
Well, no wonder. Well, now I understand why it was such a great airline.
Yeah. Well, that's it. He was new to the floor.
The pre-Alan Joyce era, you had the Greek era.
Well, I was there during the Alan Joyce era, to be fair, but
let's
it was.
not go to that. But hey, Qantas's loss is our gain.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
exactly.
And now we have
Ouzo Talk,
the go-to Greek podcast, not just in Australia, but in the world.
mate.
Am I right?
Boom, boom, yes.
We're going to cut that and use that.
I know
That's
you
an endorsement.
are.
Yeah.
And I was just going to say, and when you do, you'll be receiving an invoice from
Yes.
me.
Yeah,
Because I did I mention I'm a Kalamatiano?
we did. You don't
We
forget.
do nothing for free.
And he never forgets.
Never forgets. Man, I feel like I've been talking for 2 hours.
No, we got something. We got to
Do you
cover
edit this down?
Mykonos.
Yeah, you're going to edit this down, yeah?
Yeah, well, maybe a little
I
bit.
don't know. Maybe. It's good quality.
Mate, who listens to a 2-hour podcast?
They do.
Mate,
We've got the numbers to prove
we've
it.
had 2.5 hour podcast. It was one of our best.
Wow.
Actually, yeah,
Greece
it
in
was.
World War II.
Guys, well, I'm not saying that because I've got to get out of here. I've got nothing to do.
Yeah.
I don't really have a life. So, go for it. What's your next question? Look, I'm just happy to meet some new friends.
Yeah.
Hi.
I'm just sad you can't drink with us.
You
but
sure don't want to have a
anyway.
drink?
Nah, you know what? I can't.
A little bit?
No, because I'm one of these guys, I don't just have one drink.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I'll be grabbing that bottle of Masticha off you and guzzling it down. I'll go, give me that bottle. I'm one of those. You know those guys?
Just on
Yeah.
that, look, do you mind if I butt in here?
You butt in.
We
go
got
on.
to talk about your 60th birthday in Mykonos.
Yeah.
Mate.
Look, it looked a lot better on video than what it actually was.
Oh, really?
Yeah, guys, do I have to tell you this? Don't believe everything you see on Instagram.
Oh, damn it.
Mate, I cut it up. Let me tell you.
I'm going this year. I'm
He's
gonna
living
plan it.
vicariously
I
through
cut
you.
in the 5% of exciting moments.
Yeah.
And the 95% of boring moments when nothing happened were got left on the cutting table. That is the beauty of Instagram.
Okay.
I mean, look, man, if you had to do a 30-second video of your life, I'm sure you can make it look really exciting.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
You know?
But was
I
it
mean,
like?
we've all got at least 30 good seconds in our lives, yeah? You know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely.
So
Well, that
what-
was my 60th.
Well, let's
There were
pick up.
30 good seconds in it,
Yeah.
and luckily I got them on film.
Yeah. So why Mykonos? Why did you pick Mykonos for your 60th? Is it because of the movie or?
I hadn't been there for 4 years because it's played a big role in my life, not just the movie.
Yeah.
It was one of the first Greek islands I went to in the late 80s. And boys, it changed since the late 80s. And you know what? I've actually made friendships with an enormous amount of Mykonoans
Well,
who are incredibly rich now.
Yeah.
In fact, forget the friendship. I wish I'd bought shares in their businesses. But that's another story. More importantly, I wish I'd bought land.
Really?
Yeah, back in 88, when one of my Mykonoan friends says, Eladore, come here. That hill there, buy the hill. Just buy it. I go, what am I going to do with the hill? He goes, no. Revlaka, that hill looks at the port. You understand?
Yeah.
You buy that hill. Laddie, I'm going to buy a hill.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back and say I bought a hill. He goes, hey, you joking?
Yeah.
Hey, forget the goats on the hill now. In 10, 20 years, that hill's going to have hotels.
Yeah.
And that's going to be your land. Come on, mate. Where are the bars with all the chicks?
On that hill. 20
Now
years
they
time.
are.
now.
Cut to all these years later.
Yeah.
It's no longer a hill.
Yeah.
It has some of the most impressive hotels in the world. And everything he said to me came true.
Yeah.
Wow.
If I had bought 1/10 of that hill,
Yeah.
I would not be here right now. I'd be flying over somewhere in my private jet, thanking God for Mykonos and that hill. But yeah, I guess I was more interested in, pursuing the fun times.
Yeah.
But I'm very happy for them. They're very,
Yeah.
very hardworking people. The thing about the Mykonoans is, what a lot of people don't know, is that they were inclusive and woke in the 60s. Gay communities, gay people, LGBTQI, sorry if I left out any letters, people
Plus.
were coming, plus, thank you very much, were coming to Mykonos in the 60s and being left alone. They were allowed to be who they wanted to be and do what they wanted to do, all right? Because the Mykonoans believed in that freedom, believed in that humanity. And they are still like that. And when I went there, I felt that, even in the 80s. There was a sense of real, do whatever you want. But, don't piss us off. Go for it,
You're respectful.
Be respectful of the island.
Yeah.
But, we don't care what you do. What
Yeah.
you do in your private time is your shit. Not got nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
But, if you're willing to pay us, sure, no problem. And I respected that about him. And that's why Mykonos has grown to become what it is. You feel that energy, and well, you used to, more so than now. And look, it's been through waves, and I think it'll come back again. But having said that, I've also been to at least 30, 40 other Greek islands, which are absolutely fantastic. In fact, take a map throw a dart, it'll land on an island. Just go there. I promise you still have a good time. For me, Mykonos is just a personal thing.
Yeah.
It's because it's one of the first islands I went to. That and Santorini, but I wasn't going to climb the steps in Santorini again.
Yeah.
And the beaches are a little bit better in Mykonos.
Yep.
I didn't like the pebbles going up my arse in Santorini.
Yeah.
Big black ones, but beautiful place.
Yeah. What about the clubs? Which clubs were good?
Ooh, now we're talking. Is this what you guys want to know?
Well, I'm planning to
So
possibly
Masticha-
go there. I
So
think
that-
going.
Oh, you mean now or in the 80s?
now 24.
The 80s doesn't matter. They're gone.
I don't know. I'm in two minds. My mate wants to go. I don't know if I want to go. But
Look, I tell you what to do. You go there for at least, you've got to see it.
yeah, I've been there. I went there in
You've been
95.
there. All right, well, then
yeah.
go somewhere else. Go,
Yeah.
spend your money. There's Greeks who'd like you to spend their money at their joints. You know?
So what were the
so
bars
many
like?
beautiful islands, isn't there?
Well, we were just there last year, and
Yeah.
so we spent,
Ionian Island, 6
Yeah.
weeks. So I'm going every year
Ionian,
now.
beautiful.
Yeah.
so we spent most of the time. Well, I did anyway.
Beautiful.
In Corfu and
Yeah, Paxos, Sandy Paxos,
Been to all of them.
Lefkada,
Beautiful.
Kefalonia,
Beautiful.
Ithaki. Oh my God, how good is Ithaki?
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Look, people probably only have seen me Mykonos, but the fact is I've been to all of, not all the islands. I mean,
Yeah.
there's some that are uninhabitable. There's some.
we've all got
there's
to
some
get
that
on
have
Peter
nothing on
Menaeus' boat. That's what's got to happen.
Yeah,
Call
he
Peter.
sold it.
Did he sell it?
I think he said he sold
Is it done?
Whose boat?
Peter
Peter
Meneses.
from My Greek Odyssey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What was
I
it?
don't get those invites. You
He's
get those
been
invites?
on. Well,
It was one of our episodes.
I
we
wouldn't be
talked
throwing
about
it out there.
Oh, right.
But he
Let's hope he hears this.
did he touch
Hey,
on
invite
every
me too, there.
He had a record. He touched every Greek inhabited island on his boat.
Oh,
The
I see.
documentary,
Yes,
that guy.
yes.
Yeah.
I have seen it. Yes,
Yeah.
it's on my watch list.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm definitely going to stream it soon.
Yeah.
So, in answer to your did I answer your quick Mykonos question?
Give me some bars. So what?
Ah.
Actually,
DK Oyster.
where did you go on your 60th?
Oh, my 60th was
What day? What
now I'm
bar?
No, listen. You see, now you're going to get me in trouble. Now I'm going to sound like a real wanker.
Why?
Because mate.
It's all right.
All right, okay. Where did I go for my 60th?
You can blame
I
me.
went to-
Nick asked
I
me.
went to Matsuhisa at the Belvedere Hotel.
Okay.
So Matsuhisa is part of the Nobu chain.
Okay.
So Nobu, his full name is
Yep.
Nobu Matsuhisa.
All right.
And the Nobu half is the half he owns with De Niro.
Yeah.
And the Matsuhisa half is the one he didn't tell De Niro about.
All right.
So he gets 100% of Matsuhisa.
Yeah.
And I don't know what his percentage is with De Niro on the Nobu side, right?
Interesting.
Okay.
So an absolutely beautiful, my favourite.
That's a restaurant.
It is. It's
Yep.
in the Belvedere Hotel in Mykonos.
Yep.
And it's, it gets better. That particular night I had my 60th, Nobu himself was in town.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think I'm enough of a wanker to actually post a photo of me and Nobu, which
So
I
he's
think
a Japanese guy.
I'm a big enough wanker to do that. And I did.
right.
And if you go to my Insta page, I don't remember if it was a story or what it was, but there is a photo of me with Nobu himself,
Okay.
being the wanker that I am. Yeah, it's my, you know Nobu, mate?
He's my best mate.
Oh, is he actually a person? Yeah, Lada Malaka, you don't know anything. That's a misquote. So, being the wanker that I am,
Yeah.
but I actually do know him. I met him there when we were filming Kings of Mykonos. Every time he sees me, he goes, "Hey, the King of Mykonos!"
Yeah.
I say, "Well, if only that were true, mate."
Yeah. Could have had the hill, but
But here's what I love about him: still charges me full price. Just because he knows me, no half price on the sushi.
Yeah.
In fact, I think he adds a bit extra though. Anyway,
Really?
yeah, the King's kind of royalty commission
Like,
percentage.
I'll show you who's king.
Yeah,
Boom.
I'll show you.
Barta.
So that's where I had my 60th, and then we, it was beautiful. It was fantastic
Yep.
with a close group of friends.
Yep.
And
Vince Colosimo there.
sadly, no. Sadly not.
You guys good mates?
Very good mates, and we've been to Mykonos many, many times together,
Really?
but not on this occasion.
Yeah.
But yes, there's stories of me and Vince in Mykonos
Nick, you're looking at it.
in the net.
You wanted to
I'm looking at it, but I'm not going to have any.
Okay.
Vince and me in Mykonos in the 90s, which can definitely never be told.
Oh, what?
Nah, sorry guys.
If I hit pause, can you
Nah.
tell us the stories?
Nah. Not even off mic. Nah.
The stories I
Let's
wanna
just say,
Yeah, must.
what
Jeez, boys.
what happens in Mykonos stays in Mykonos. Yeah. But great days, great days. But mate, if you do go to Mykonos, do bring plenty of money with you.
How much for the Acropolis now? What was that figure that they were talking about?
Depends where you want the Acropolis to be. If you're a massive wanker like me and want to be in the front row, well then you
Was it Emo singing?
Can you see me? I'm in the front. My lapis.
Is it the price of a hill back in 1980?
Basically, sell your unit in Reservoir, sell a house, and that'll probably buy you a week's worth of Acropolis in Mykonos. Yeah. Or basically cash in your superannuation early, and that'll pay for the week's accommodation at the hotel.
Jeez.
But let me just say...
No, we go on the Crete then.
Let me just say things have got a bit out of control.
Really?
But, hey, look, there's also beaches where you can just go put a towel down. It doesn't cost anything. But then again, who's going to do that in Mykonos? Look at the Vlaco with his towel on the beach. I mean, you don't...
Goodness.
Hey, Titus! I mean, I had a mate who did that, and he said, mate, I found a beach. I said, I'm good.
Yeah.
People see photos of me on a deserted beach with a towel. They're going to say, that guy doesn't want to spend 20 euros on Acropolis.
Yeah.
I said, 20 euros? That doesn't even get you a pillow.
Yeah. So which beaches were you going to?
My hotel pool.
Oh,
it was free.
Okay.
It was all part. It was the price of the room.
All inclusive.
So
all inclusive.
You didn't hit Paradise, Super Paradise?
Are you kidding?
No.
Paradise is like there's no one over 22.
Oh, okay. So you haven't been since 95.
I'd be a pedophile on Paradise Beach.
Okay.
In fact, all the kids would think I was the owner.
Yeah.
Classic.
The only person as old as me would be the owner. Paradise. That's all the kids.
Okay,
school
got it. Well, where did people?
When was the last time
go?
you went to Mykonos?
95. I was probably 22.
Well, things have moved on. You've moved
Okay.
on. Your age has moved
I have.
on. Yeah, no,
Definitely.
you're not.
My weight has moved
You're not
on.
Paradise Beach appropriated.
What am I?
Definitely not.
That's all I was
What are
asking you. What you did on your 60th.
Is he Mykonos appropriate?
Anyone's Mykonos appropriate. But make
You haven't
Paradise
convinced
Beach
me.
is
I don't think
is
I'm
very-
going. You haven't convinced me.
I'm not trying to convince you.
I'm going to put a line
If
through
anything,
it
I'm
now.
trying to convince you to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Look, mate, it's expensive. It's fun. It's
Yeah.
incredibly cost. There's some great restaurants. If that's what you're into, go spend a week there. If that's not what you're into. If you think you're going to go there
Yeah.
and do what a lot of people did this year and just last year and complain,
Oh.
just don't do it.
No.
I mean, the people that get me.
But how can you
The people who
complain?
know all
You're in
this stuff,
Greece.
they go, no, it's so expensive.
As
And
if they didn't
I said,
know.
oh, mate, when you booked the room, did you look at the price? I mean, really?
Man, how can you complain?
It's only
in Greece?
expensive after you pay the bill?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a legal requirement these days that the hotels tell you how much you're going to... I go, no, mate, listen.
Those people are never happy.
Then I say, mate, you would go to the Gold Coast and stay in a budget hotel and still complain,
Probably.
I mean, you know those people. You know what I'm talking about? So if
Here's
anyone out there is
$1 million
listening,
check. No, I want it
Mykonos
cash.
is a wonderful island.
Yeah.
There are ways to do it on the cheap,
Yeah.
but it's not that sort of place.
Yeah.
It's like doing Saint-Tropez on the cheap.
Yeah.
Who does Saint-Tropez on the cheap? The cool people drive by and go, look at the Malacca camping at Saint-Tropez.
Yeah.
In fact, I think you get arrested for camping at Saint-Tropez.
Really?
Pretty sure. But you know what I'm getting at.
Okay.
But there's
Perfect.
other... Look,
No,
man,
got it.
hey, you know what? Hey, there's some islands much cheaper.
Yeah. Well, I'm going every year now. That's my thing. So I haven't
Are you?
I haven't been there since '95.
His kids are old enough now. He can go.
Yeah, my eldest just finished year 12, so he's done.
You're an empty nester.
That's it. Well, they're still at home. They'll never leave, but I'm going to leave. Six
you're
weeks a year.
You're going to leave your kids in the house and you're going to move out.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea.
6 weeks, and I'll
And
come
are
back.
you have you become the bank of mum and dad? Has that started to happen?
Well, that's stopped this year.
Oh.
Yeah, they both got jobs. So
Oppa.
Bravo.
Put his Greek fist down.
well, that's it, mate.
Bravo.
Well, I said, look, I'm not going to charge you rent and food and all that shit. I'll pay for all that, but
Why?
so
Mate, it's about time we became skips,
yeah.
Take a leaf out of their book.
Oh,
Start
that's all right. I can't do it to them. They've got to save. It's
Look what
expensive.
happened to us. We stayed at home till 45 because we didn't have to pay rent.
But
and
there's
how
a-
did that work out?
But there's a theory in that. I want them to save up to move out. So if they start paying for shit, they'll never have money to move out.
Here's the problem.
And as you know,
Here's the
Greeks
problem.
don't pay rent.
Here's the
Here we
problem.
go.
I've
You gotta
only
buy a
known
house.
you for an hour or two,
Yeah.
but I can tell you're a really nice guy.
Yeah.
And I can already tell that at least one of you boys
Yeah.
has you right under the thumb. I know you're tougher on one than the other, but the other one who's under the thumb,
Yeah.
it's always like that. My dad was always tougher on me than my sister. Oh, mate, I copped it bad.
I try and be hard on
Is
both.
there one son you're harder on than the other? There's one of your sons now going, yeah, me!
Ooh, the interview's turned. Come on, Nick.
But let me
bloody
say this,
hell.
Nick. There is one son who's
Yeah.
got you there.
Yeah.
And when he comes going, I
Yeah.
need you.
it's
You will
guys
do
out there.
it. Yeah. Because we're Greeks, man. You know?
We're family
and
orientated.
Family's everything. And what are we going to do? We're going to take her with us?
Yeah, that's right.
You know
We're doing it for them.
Yeah, man, look.
Yeah.
I read this story in the paper the other day, some kids suing their parents and this stuff, you know what I mean? That's not us.
Yeah.
We're Greeks, we don't do that.
Nah.
We don't need to go to court.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to it, you
Yeah.
know what? We're going to give them what they want.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
Yeah, 100% you're right.
We're going to play tough. We're going to
Yeah.
go, nah. But at the end of the day, this is what they know.
Yeah, well, you want to teach them good
They're going to know
morals,
what
good
we
grounding.
knew. They're going to know what we knew.
Exactly. We learn from our parents.
We're going to get all 3 units.
Yeah.
We're going to get the holiday house in Dramana.
Yeah.
We're going to get the Khtimata in Kalamata.
Yeah.
As much as our dad threatened that he wouldn't give them to us, we're going to get that small house on the village on top of the mountain that no one's been to in 30 years. That we're still going to get that.
Yeah. It's crumbling.
It's crumbling. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the day's going to come where we're all going to go to Greece and go, hey, my friend, come here. How much for that there?
Yeah.
20,000 euro. Is that it? I've waited my whole life to inherit a 20,000 euro shack on the top of a mountain. Laddie, that doesn't even buy me a week in Mykonos.
Yeah. And tax is 10,000 a year now.
And then he says to you, oh, the inheritance tax is 50%.
Yeah.
And then...
But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, mate, as Greeks, now I don't have kids, but I can see with my cousins.
Yeah.
The kids already know.
Yeah.
My 8-year-old cousin said to me the other day, you see that house there? It's going to be mine one day. I go, oh, yeah. You sure about that? He goes, yeah, I'm sure. Kid's 8.
Yeah.
He's 8.
Kid's 8.
So they've already worked it out.
He's worked it out at 8 years old.
We're all going to get that.
You know what I'm saying?
Malaka, you're going to get that. It's near the water. It's all right.
It was easiest for us because my dad said, you, unit 3,
Yeah.
your sister, unit 2,
Yeah.
unit 1, your mother.
Yeah. Done.
Mate, that was his will.
That was it.
It was the quickest will reading in history.
Fantastic.
So I'm not going to
Unit 3 goes to Nick, unit 2 goes to my daughter, unit 1 goes to my wife.
Yeah.
Guess see you later.
Oh, I see. The best.
brilliant.
But that's it.
Yeah.
Keep it simple. But you know,
Yeah.
am I right? You're going to your kids are going to get everything.
Of course they are.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I've already got it.
And that's a beautiful thing. And
Yeah.
so they should.
Exactly.
You got kids?
I got 2, but they're much younger than his. So I've got a 5-year-old and a 7-month-old now. Yeah. Okay.
And more importantly, you guys got Sydney property, not Melbourne property.
Yeah.
So you're 10 times richer
don't.
than me.
Don't even go there.
Have you got water views?
I do.
Can you? All right.
I
Is
do.
it Botany
Actually, we
Bay
do.
or the Pacific?
Botany Bay.
Not so good. Not so
It
good.
is
Even
a
though I'm
house.
from Melbourne.
It is a house, but
Even though I'm from Melbourne.
yeah.
I've watched the difference between Bronte prices
Actually, you got water views
and
too.
Brighton
I
Le
do.
Sands prices.
Yeah.
I've seen the difference.
Yeah.
I've seen the difference.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Bronte is,
I mean, you got and then you got Botany Bay. You know, Qantas QF09 coming into land. You know what I mean? Not to mention if you try to swim, the sharks are going to eat you
I'll
up.
forget it.
Yeah.
Forget it.
You
So
know,
the problem was,
but
we're from the
The Greeks who
mainland.
got there in the 50s go, Botany Bay, beautiful, mate. I'll
know-
buy a house right at the front.
You know what it was? Our parents were. We're from Ipiro, mainland. So they all bought inland. While all the islanders bought along fucking Bondi, Maroubra, Coogee, all
I
near the
know.
water.
I've met them all.
Yeah. We
Well,
got
Mary's
stuck
there
with,
now.
Huh?
Mary's there now.
Correct. Yes, I know.
Yeah. So we were stuck inland. I go, Dad, you should have brought it on the coast, mate. It's like triple the price.
And they'd never seen
But
surf
they didn't
before.
like
They didn't
that.
realise how much surfing was a big thing.
Yeah.
You know, because Botany Bay's got no surf.
No, it doesn't.
No.
But
But you
even
know,
the
but
water.
if you knew about surfing,
Yeah.
if they were somehow part Greek, Hawaiian or something, right? They would have bought at Bondi Beach.
Yeah,
and
for
if
sure.
they had bought at Bondi Beach,
We'd
forget
be set.
podcasts.
Mate.
Yeah, laddie, podcasts. You'd be doing
I'm
chap
on my
laps.
boat.
Chap laps is Chapel Street laps in Melbourne in your
yeah.
Ferraris.
Hey, you wouldn't be buying the hill in Mykonos. You've got the whole mountain
The
now.
whole, you'd buy the island. So while James Packer's buying, Campbell Parade,
Yeah.
we're checking out units in Brighton Le Sands.
Yeah.
You get what's going on?
Yeah.
The power of the surf.
No.
Tiene αυτό το τι surf.
Yeah,
Surf,
more
what surf?
Yeah.
Surf, dude,
Well,
I'm
yeah,
going
yeah.
to get a board. I'm going to go, this surf, laka. You're going to go surfing. You're going to kill yourself, raka.
Yeah.
Stay here. You're not going nowhere. I can't come surfing. My dad won't let me.
For the price of my apartment, or any apartment in our area, we could go back to Greece. Go back to get
What area is this?
Dolls Point, so just past Brighton.
Dolls Point's going up.
It is.
Dolls Point's going up.
Yep.
I
You
know
could
people still
buy-
make out in Dolls Point. Is there still a make out area?
I don't know.
I don't
Past
know,
our
actually.
Back in the
age
80s
group,
when I went to Sydney, I met
Yeah.
this girl and this guy goes, mate, you got to take it to Dolls Point.
Really?
I said, really? I said, is it nice? He goes, nice. You got park there, idiot. That's where we got parking.
Okay. They've
I know
actually
what it
put
is.
gates up. It's like a gated
It's
community
a
now.
private school there now.
All those shattered 80s dreams.
Scots
that school
College
there?
has moved in.
Scots College.
Yeah.
Oh, well, back in the 80s, when I first went to Sydney in 88, that was a make-out area.
Really?
Dolls
Yeah,
Point.
no
yeah.
more.
They used to go do wheelies there. That's where they
Yeah.
went.
I remember that.
I
That's
used to
why
do
they put
jokes
the
at the
gates in.
airport. I used to do Doll Point jokes.
Really?
So I'm like, I was
I
just doing
see.
wheelies at Dolls Point.
I'm right there.
I said that now, they'd be like, this guy hasn't been here since 88.
Well, I'm right there.
So you're there. Okay, got it.
And it's gated off now. You can't do any of that shit. But for the price of any apartment around there, you could literally go to Kerkira and buy the whole Liston
Yeah.
in Corfu town.
Absolutely, you could.
And I look at
Now
that.
let's transfer that to Campbell Parade, Bondi.
Yeah. Forget it. Times 10.
Yeah, you're
No
buying the whole
chance.
city.
Nah.
We're in the wrong place.
Sorry, mate.
On
Sorry.
that depressing note,
Yeah, exactly. What did you have, Tom? You were going to say something before I interrupted?
No,
Mykonos?
yeah, actually,
Yes.
yeah. I mean, we've gone very, very long, and we appreciate your
that's all
time.
right.
But anyway,
My bedtime was 2 hours ago, but it's all good. It's all good. Ouzo Talks.
that's
Yeah, he's still talking.
Did the GT on Mykonos look out of place? How'd you get it on there?
Oh, well, a Greek guy owned that.
There?
Yeah.
Really?
The Pontiac, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a guy in Athens who actually, believe it or not, had it holed up in his garage because you obviously couldn't drive that thing around
You're
Athens
joking.
anymore. One of our guys on the crew found it. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, we put the call out, because we were looking for something like that. And, man, how happy was I when I found that beautiful old car. I was going to bring one over from Australia, but it was incredibly expensive. But, yeah, we found that beautiful Pontiac, man. And, and of course, I'm not as big a car buff as my characters, but... Once I Googled it and found out the history about it, I was wrapped. And, of course, it's a character within the film.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I just got lucky with that one. And the goat I got lucky with. That's a real Cree goat.
Really?
The goat in the Kings of Mykonos is a real Cree goat who has become as famous now as the film in Greece because there's hardly any Crees left. It's a rare breed. Yeah.
Is that
So
right?
what is it? A creek?
What's an endangered species?
Wow.
Say that again.
Cree. The Cree. It's an ancient. The Cree is an ancient Greek. There's cave paintings of the Cree.
Really?
In Crete, yes, with the horns and and you can tell it's the Cree because it's quite distinctive.
Yeah.
So the Cree is part of ancient history. It's like an ancient history animal. Yeah, ancient
wow.
Greek.
Didn't
yeah,
know that.
It's like probably one of the first goat descendants. I don't know where the goat's descended from, but he'd be one of the first. So they are, they're a very old breed.
Because the German guys were talking about it in the movie.
Yes, correct. Which is.
But I didn't think it was...
I think you need to watch the movie with subtitles. Because I think everything I just spoke about the last 5 minutes, I think the script goes into quite a bit of depth about it. In fact, the whole plot of the film hinges on the friggin' goat.
Yeah, that's right. But I didn't think you had...
Okay, all right. If you're going to do podcasts and you got... watch the film, read the subtitles, at least know the plot, and then talk to the filmmaker.
Come on, Nick.
But I didn't know the Cree bit. I didn't know the history of it.
Well, it's sort of mentioned in Vince sort of says something, but yeah, I understand. Yeah. No, it is. It's a very very rare goat.
Yeah.
Which is why it was in the film. Very rare. Yeah. So, but to find, the hardest thing was finding one.
Yeah.
And when we actually tracked one down with the keeper, who was also a trained film actor, not the keeper, the goat. I don't know. He was available for film hire. I don't know. But we managed to find something that I thought would be impossible. A goat that was available with its keeper to be in a film.
Wow.
And he wasn't happy about it.
Really?
The day that goat did his last scene, we all cheered like you wouldn't believe. He was attacking all of us.
Really, the goat?
Mate, every scene with that goat, he's literally been held down by 5 people while we pretend everything's fine. He did not like any of us.
Really?
He wanted to kill me on
Really?
the first day. He literally, if the keeper hadn't dragged him back by the high, he was ready to attack me with that. You know those horns?
Yeah.
They were about to go right up my ass.
Really?
He was... the only one he liked was Zeta.
Really?
Yeah, of course he was a male Greek.
That's not hard to believe.
Typical Greek goat.
Maybe that's why he hated you, because you were with Zeta.
Well, there you go. Mate, he hated all the men, all the guys. But Zeta, I remember, he had no problem with Zeta. Could pat him, and he was very friendly.
Wow.
Smell the femininity.
And mate, let me tell you, in the downstairs department, oh yeah.
Really?
I was one very proud Greek goat.
Wow.
You wouldn't be making any jokes about his Cree.
Definitely Greek goat, eh?
And when he saw something he liked, you really found out about it.
Yeah. Wow.
You saw that coming before the Cree. I'm not joking. He was like, really? No. Wow. That thing's bigger than the goat.
Yeah.
Wow. And as Vince said, I'd like to see 2 of these guys go for it. I said, you mean guys? He goes, no, you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying.
You let it slip.
Yeah. I said, yeah, okay, Vince.
Wow.
Well, I mean, we could go all bloody
We
night.
could, but I'm sure the listeners have all tuned out like maybe 3 hours ago.
Probably.
So we've gone into it well over time.
We're just glad that we managed to finally get you on the show and get your story, get the Greek side of your
Oh,
story.
mate, you've had about 100th of my story.
I'm sure.
There's a lot more.
And the viewers just collective gasp of thank God.
Yeah.
All the
That
more
guy
reason.
doesn't shut up.
All the more reason to go to the show, though, because again, it is the last time.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's sincerely the last time. And people go, oh, you doing a John Farnham?
Yeah.
I didn't even know what that meant. But I've since found out that supposedly John Farnham did some farewell tour and then he came back or
I
something.
remember.
Another
yeah.
20 times.
I said, mate, do I look like John Farnham?
Yeah.
I said, no. I said, well, no, I'm not John Farnham. This is it. I said,
So this is it. No more
yeah,
stand-up.
this is it. Yeah, no
Wow,
more.
this
No,
is-
yeah, the
it's
live
actually a
shows.
big
Yeah,
thing.
no, this is
Wow.
it. No, yeah, everyone keeps saying that. But,
No, but you know, it's people like me. It's an
Yeah,
end of an era.
it's-
no, you
yeah.
know what?
I've grown up with
That's
you.
what it is.
You know, for the 5,000 people I blocked who said, thank God.
Yeah.
In fact, one guy said, mate, I will pay you if you promise me it's the last show.
Yeah.
And I said, oh.
Done.
I said, mate,
How much?
How much?
have I disappointed you in some previous show?
Yeah.
He said, no, I've never been to any of your shows. I said, oh, okay. So what, for like 37 years you've just been hanging shit on me? He goes, yeah. I said, okay, well then aren't you going to miss hanging shit on me? He goes, yeah, I guess I am.
Yeah.
I said, well then you'd like me to stick around, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
He goes, oh, when you put it that way, yeah. I go, you know what, mate? Once a malaka, always a malaka.
Yeah.
So
dear.
that's skewered logic. Yeah, no, look, leave it on a kind of high. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Leave at your peak,
Yeah.
not like poor old Gilligan
Yeah.
Yeah.
at 75 in the
It's
supermarket.
a great analogy.
Yeah.
Do you like that analogy?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I
Does
agree.
that explain what I'm talking
100%,
about?
mate.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I love those actors who kind of retire at an age where they still look good.
Yeah.
So every time they talk about them on something, they put up that good photo. You know what I mean? And I noticed the ones who've got older, they're just copying the old photos. You seen George Clooney's photos, lady? Not that good,
Really?
right? Because the guy's getting older. I mean,
Yeah.
hey, who gets to 75 and looks fucking shit hot?
Is he 75 now?
Well, I don't know what he is, but he's old.
But he's
you know?
only there for his looks.
He's 70. I know what he is, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Bry's probably only 55. I don't know, but I mean, he's looking
Yeah.
up. But you get my point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's a time where, in terms of the public, it's nice just to back away a little bit, you know? Because one thing I never wanted to do was grow old in the public eye. You want to grow old gracefully and
Yeah.
away from public, don't you think?
Yeah. Well, you want to retire on your own terms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, hopefully not cop one of those Daily Mail stories.
Yeah.
Here's the guy who used to be in LA Law
Where
who
is
hasn't
he
been
now?
seen for 40 years.
Yeah.
You know, and he looks like, you know what I'm saying? Or LA Law, people go, what?
What Nick Giannopoulos is doing now will shock you.
Yeah.
No, the guy who was in CSI Miami, right?
Yeah.
Forgetting the actor's name, David someone, right? Just last week, they had photos of this guy who hadn't been seen in 20 years,
Yeah.
you know, doing his shopping in some small town he's disappeared to in Midtown America. And you look at it and you go, and you see this old guy with the hair and the beard, and you go, yeah, okay. And?
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? And I looked, it was the most popular article.
Yeah.
People were fascinated.
Yeah.
So, hopefully, you know, in 20 years from now, I don't cop one of those of me searching bins
Well, I don't think that's going to happen.
in
Won't
Mykonos, you know?
You're definitely going out on a high, and we appreciate all
Oh, I
the
hope
work.
so. I hope so. And I hope,
yeah.
and thank you to all the fans. Look, you know, all three of you listening, thank you for supporting me all these years. And most importantly, if you sat listening to this podcast for what surely is a hell of a long time, may I just say sincerely, either you've got nothing better to do in your life than to sit here listening to us all day, or you're an incredibly nice person. And we thank you very much for still being around and listening to just about all of our Malakis today.
You know what it is? They sit around. We've heard email. They sit around. They gardening. They go for bike rides.
Uh-huh.
They're sitting there, or they're going for a jog.
that
They're running
In
around
the gym.
Centennial Park.
Or
I tell you, if they were
breastfeeding.
jogging on some of the things I said today, they'd be, you know, kind of tripping over. Like,
Lo-
what?
But a lot of breastfeeders, apparently.
Well,
Yeah, true.
Yep.
I've always had a strong breastfeeder fan base.
Yeah. Classic.
Just something I know. It's just one of these weird things that the advertising people have told me.
Don't ask me how.
The last film, Wog Boys Forever, they said, Nick, we're going to go hard with the breastfeeding, Karen. We're just going to, the trailer, we're just going to pitch it directly to all the breastfeeders because we know for a fact they're big fans of yours. So to all the breastfeeders.
The only reason why we know that is because we've had
whether
emails.
you're in public or in private, breastfeeding right now, I say all the best with it. And,
Breast is best.
Use a shield.
Thank you for being such loyal fans.
Breast is best.
And let's hope that kid isn't breastfed for too long, like I was. I think my mum stopped breastfeeding me when I was 10.
Yeah.
Is that weird? Is that something weird?
In the
I
village,
say
it's
that to
normal.
people, they just look at me. Isn't that, it's normal, isn't it?
Στο χωριό είναι τίποτα.
Yeah.
10
that's
for
right.
a Greek boy's kind of normal, isn't it?
That's right. It comes from economic need, let's say.
It's cheaper.
free.
Lots of
In
reasons.
free.
Look how healthy I am.
Free milk.
It worked out for me.
Absolutely.
Look at you, 60. You're looking good, mate.
Very developed.
Actually,
What's the breastfeeding?
you got no fucking grey
It's the
hairs.
breastfeeding.
He doesn't.
Where are your grey hairs?
It's the breastfeeding.
Bloody
10 years
hell.
of breastfeeding.
Not a grey hair, full
Suggest
head
that
of
to
hair.
your wife and you're going to cop a sfagliata.
It looks fit too. You've got a little bicep vein there.
And I'm wearing these stupid headphones. You should see me
Right.
without these headphones. All right,
stuff.
thank you,
Nick
gentlemen.
Giannopoulos, thank you very much for joining us on Ouzo Talk.
And one more time, I've got to do the plug, woglife.com.
Please.
Yeah, woglife.com. If you want to come and see the show, please come along. This isn't a sales pitch. It is selling really fast. So, as soon as you hear this, if you want to come, I strongly suggest you jump on woglife.com and purchase your tickets. Okay?
Fantastic.
Yeah. And
So it's the last show. Last time we're going to see you
it's
live.
the last, just like John Farnham.
And the first time
I
we're going
shouldn't
to
say
see
that
you.
because he came back.
And the first time we're going to see you on your own, solo.
Yeah, well, now you're scaring them.
Yeah.
See, when you say it,
Don't miss it.
But it's a last and a first.
Hey, it's not my first rodeo, you know what I mean?
Okay.
It's going to be
Yeah.
fine. I am. It's me and different characters, so it sort of feels like it's other people, but it's actually
Okay.
me. You
Got
know,
it.
so don't freak people out.
So you've given it away.
Or just me and Nick Giannopoulos.
No, but
Just
that's a-
the two
that's
of
a-
us. It's a kind of scary thought. It's the reason why I'm not married.
Okay.
It's the reason why, as soon as women sit there and think, the rest of my life with this guy. Yeah, I don't know about that. Nick, we need to have a chat. And here I am.
Yeah.
And as you can tell over these past 2 hours, there are 1,000,001 reasons why I'm still single. And it probably started with the first thing I said.
If you're after a good-looking Greek man, get in contact with Ouzo Talk. ouzotalk@outlook.com is the email. We'll get you in contact with me.
Mate, no grey hair, looking fit, smiling,
That's going to be
laughing the
my
whole
big
time.
comeback, the Greek bachelor.
The Greek bachelor.
Oh, fuck. How good would
Please
that
make
be?
that happen.
How
With all the
please.
yayadas from the Horior. All the women would be dressed in black, greeting their husbands.
Yeah.
Hello.
All the widows lining up.
Hello, you very nice, sticky boy. That would be a good show, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. I'd watch that.
There you go. Now he's thinking.
Now I'm too much
here we
thinking.
go.
Too much thinking, not enough Masticha.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right,
Classic.
gentlemen. Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me on. I really do. I haven't done a
Likewise,
lot.
mate.
I've done very little publicity, if any, for this show because I just hate doing publicity now. But I really wanted to do this show because I have heard past some of the other shows, and I think you guys are doing fantastic stuff.
Thank you very
and
much.
keep going. It's important that our culture and our Hellenicism continues to thrive and advance throughout the world.
Very well said. Thank you, Nick.
Now I'm running for Greek
Legend.
Prime
There you
Minister.
go. I've got Rocky Balboa now with that.
Oh,
Love
and
your work.
don't tell the Australian government that you got assets in Greece.
Yeah.
That's basically why I'm retiring. But that's another story.
We have someone that might be able to help you with that, actually.
Oh, yeah?
we do.
Oh, please. After, when the
he's in
podcast
Sydney.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the real reason why I'm retiring. I'm getting rid of all my assets.
That's it.
So I can get the full pension.
Yeah.
Well, ouzotalk@outlook.com is the email. Follow us on social media at ouzotalk and at ouzo_talk on Instagram. Nick Athanasiou, Nick Giannopoulos. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Well done. Well said, Tom. See you, everyone.
Καλή συνέχεια.
End of episode 1, season 3. See you
Boom.
next time.
See you, everyone.
Γεια σας.
Ακολουθήστε μας στο Soundees, στο Spotify, στο Apple Podcasts και στο Google Podcasts.